All right, shalom, shalom. Hola, mi nombre es Kofi, ¿cómo está? Bonjour, je m'appelle Kofi. Ça va? Ni hao, namaste, Osaya, Anekdawaya, I see you, Ohio, Kamsamida, Aqua Abba, Etesen, Habarigani, Manut, Jambo Mimini Kofi, Nina Franco Kutana Nueve, Bakwata, Shabbat Shalom, Kwam Yashlel, Anek Kofi, Kohelet Service of Christ, Mashalom Khe. Hello, everybody. I'm Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. And we're grateful and thankful and appreciative to have you guys on with us on today. We're thankful. Thank you for being with us and spending some time with us today. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Hopefully, you all are doing well. We appreciate your presence. We appreciate your time. And we hope that it shall be used correctly. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our redeemer. And it is in his name, which is his authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect today's message. Amen. Thank you to everybody for being on. We appreciate you so very much once again. Peace be upon everybody. Hopefully you're doing well as we continue in this series. It's on Balaam Doctrine. Hopefully you've been able to work out some things and get some things out of this as we continue to improve in our humanity, in our walk, in our talk, in our culture, and not giving others things that don't belong to them or do not even belong to us. As we discuss some more today, and this Balaam Doctrine series has been going on for a little while now. So, of course, at any time, you can always go back and do some research, do some study to see what's going on and to see where we're at and to see what is being said. So we're thankful and grateful for that. And we appreciate you. We give all honor and praise once again to the Most High. We give all praise and honor to him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And she has many different tinctures that can be used, that can be utilized. Many different tinctures. The tincture of the month right now is stinging nettle, but she has many different tinctures, what we call natural medicine, to be able to help the body to heal itself. Your body is fearfully and wonderfully made. So if they're interested in something along those lines, feel free to contact her or really get in contact with us. You can do so by, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, look at the description at the bottom of the video, to text us, email us, and we'll get back to you. If you'd like to be able to do so through TikTok, you can just look on our main TikTok page, click on the link tree, and through the website, kofi-40.com, look on the website and contact us there. Or if you'd like to be able to get more recordings on different things we're talking about, discussing, and what we're going through right now, you can always do the same and make sure that you have those items right there. So, but we thank you guys. We appreciate you. Thanks for being on as we continue this study. We also want to remind you all that Sister Kimberly and Brother Marcus will be doing some more fundraising for their son. So even if you're not in the Houston, Texas area, if you'd like to be able to be a blessing to them, just I'll try by tomorrow to make sure that we have their information up for you guys so you guys can sow into them if you would like to. Same family that we had just finished helping or whatever, they're doing another fundraiser. So I told them we go ahead and let you guys know about it again. So just as a heads up, even if you can give a couple bucks, something like that, to their Cash App or something like that, they greatly appreciate it. But to everybody on here, we appreciate you. These are the classes that we have that we're in the midst of: Sovereignty 1, Sovereignty 3, Cryptocurrency, Hebrew Characters, Leadership, Marriage, Herbalism 2, and Blackstone Dictionary 1. So if you're interested in those, you can always reach out to us as well. And real quick before we get started, I don't even know if I have this up and ready. Oh, I do. So real quick before we get started, if you'd like to be able to reach out to us, you can always text us. Once again, the information is in the description with the video. If you guys are on Facebook or YouTube, if you're on TikTok right now, you can always look at this information to be able to contact us at your earliest convenience. And we appreciate you for doing so in advance. And thank you so much for joining us here at SOC. once again, where we are changing lives one mind at a time, but being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. All righty, let's go ahead and get into today. We appreciate you. So we're going to go to we're going to go to Numbers chapter 22. We're going to start where we left off yesterday at verse 34. And before we do that, let's go ahead and say hello to everybody. Once again, how you doing, Trauma Shaman? So hello to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, of course. How you doing, Trauma Shaman? How you doing? To those that are on YouTube, how you doing? Charles, Stephen, MIT Samaya Lorraine, Brian Fitzgerald. By the way, we're going to have to push back because of all the stuff that happened when I was sick and still going through some stuff with family, but we're at least coming out of the sickness part. Those who are doing minister and training, we're supposed to have our every other week session, I believe, this Saturday. We need to push that back one more Saturday. I'll try to make sure that I contact you guys ASAP to make sure that you have that via text. But if you do have the other people's information or whatever, if you beat me to it, I wouldn't mind it. Just to let y'all know that we will try to push that back. But we're going to go to Numbers 22:34. But let's keep saying hello to everybody real quick if I don't keep scrolling myself out the live. Okay. How you doing, Romac? Thanks for being on. How you doing, Kathy? Spike me too. Brother Jaron, Coco, Money Green, King, Sister Tracy, Jay and Tink, Kinkless, J Mag, Sister Latoya, All I Am, Sir Stephen, Kathy Ford. Yes, my wife is very beautiful. Amen. Sage, Sister Nadine, if I didn't say so already. Everybody who's on here, Robin, TNT, Brother Taryn, everybody who's on here, we appreciate you so much. Thanks for being on Minister Night. Shalom, how are you doing? Excited for all the stuff that the Most High is doing in your life as well. It's excited for what the Most High is doing in everybody's life. It's time to press and strain. And it's time to make sure that we are emptying, as we said yesterday, emptying everything that He has for us. So we're going to make sure that we leave on E today, right? That we're not going to have anything left so we can be refilled, right? So we're gonna get into this today. We're appreciative once again. And how you doing, Sister Kimberly? Once again, tomorrow we'll make sure the information for if you want to sow into what her and her husband, make sure that they help their child. Feel free to make sure that you tune in tomorrow. We'll make sure we have that information up behind me. And thank you again to everybody for doing so. You said you have a question. Does Shabbat always fall on a Saturday? No, Shabbat does not always fall on a Saturday because we don't go by the Gregorian calendar. If you're going by the Gregorian calendar, and we do to a certain extent because most people were in the land of our captivity, most people cannot afford, unfortunately, at least not until we start having some certain habits and some things as far as coming together as a people. Most people cannot afford or just don't have the means or don't have the mindset even within the land of our captivity to do so. But we keep Saturdays, we definitely do Shabbat Shalom services on a Saturday, but technically right now our Shabbat is actually on a Friday. When the new month just happened on the 22nd, which is a Saturday, that meant that was the first day of the month. So that meant that's the first day of the week now for us, which means that Fridays now are our Shabbat. So in a sense, Shabbat Shalom we're in the midst of it right now. According to the Israelite calendar, according to the Gregorian calendar, you would start Shabbat tonight at 6 p.m. So for those who are following both, those who have calendars, stuff like that, you actually can do both at the same time. You're able to do both simultaneously. So praise God for that, right? So you know where both are, you know when to go, you know that if it's the day that we're going in, then you already basically need to make sure that you're thinking about, making sure that 6 p.m. into 5:59 p.m. thing kicks in, all those great things. How you doing, Sister Aliens? How you doing, Black Steel? So we're going to go to Numbers chapter 22 and continue this series, all right? Numbers chapter 22, verse 34, right? It's our pleasure, Rosemary. Thank you for being on. So Numbers chapter 22, we're going to start at verse 34. We're going to read through the rest of chapter 22 and get into today's message, right? Get into today's reminder, all right? So Numbers chapter 22, we're going to go through verse 34, Numbers chapter 22, and we're going to go through verse 34, Numbers 22, and we're going to do what? We're going to go through verse 34, all right? Numbers 22, and we're going to go through verse 34. And it reads as follows, right? It says, and Balaam said unto the angel of the Lord, I have sinned, for I knew not that thou stoodest in the way against me. Now, therefore, if it displease thee, I will get me back again. And the angel of the Lord and the angel of Yahweh said unto Balaam, go with the men, but only, and this word only, I just want to put this in your mindset, how it's originally written before English was changed. This word only is actually a word that you're not used to, that you've never really seen. How you doing, Nate? It's actually a word means onely. Only. So it's not really an O-W, and it actually, they would have called it onely. Now we say only because, the language changes. We don't study etymology. I know Brother Alton, things like that. But he said onely. So when you see this word only means only one way, right? If you will. Only, in one manner. So onely or only, right? This is in the 1611 King James Version, if you have one, right? So this is in the original version before they started using the letter J, and in Middle English and all that stuff takes place and gets changed, right? How they originally wrote this out, it says onely and only. So only do what? In one manner, only or only, the word that I shall speak unto thee, that thou shalt speak. Right? So Balaam went with the princes of Balak, verse 36. And when Balak heard that Balaam was come, he went out to meet him unto a city of Moab, which in the border of Arnon, which in the utmost coast. And Balak said unto Balaam, did I not earnestly send unto thee to call thee? Wherefore thou camest not unto me? Am I not able indeed to promote thee to honor? And Balaam said to Balak, lo, pay attention. I am, or lo, really comes from the Hebrew term la. So it's not only just pay attention, but la or lo also means like no. It actually is like this in a holy manner, right? Whenever you see lo, that's really what's being said. It's not really like try to, right? Not really try to ensure that you look at it in the proper fashion. How you doing, Dream One? So it says la or lo, right? He says, so Balaam's like, hey man, am I not able to honor you, promote thee to honor? Balaam said to Balak, la, like, I am come unto thee. Have I now any power to say at all, to say anything? The word that Elohim putteth in my mouth, that shall I speak. And Balaam went with Balak, and they came unto Kiriath Huzoth. And Balak offered oxen and sheep and sent to Balaam and to the princes with him, or that were with him. And it came to pass on the morrow that Balak took Balaam and brought him up to the high places of Baal, that thence he might see the utmost part of the people. The word was already blessed before we got up this rising. Praise Yah for you guys listening to the word. Amen. Right? So we have a lot of stuff going on here. How you doing, Sir Stephen, if I didn't say so already? And hello, how you doing, Mrs. Self-Care First? Hello to everybody who's on here. Sister Nadine, Auntie Mary, how you doing? Everybody who's on, we appreciate you. So we have a situation going on here, right? And we've talked about yesterday all the stuff that was going on with the donkey, and be willing to be a donkey, be willing to say whatever's necessary. Don't hold anything in, don't hold anything back, all this type of stuff. I went through all the little personal stuff. Praise Yah. And so we finished all this up, and we got to a place to where now we said that we must recognize and we must realize some things that are going on, right? And so we have to ask ourselves a question. Once we finished all this stuff, now there's a question that comes into play. Now that we've gone through all this, there's a question that comes into play. And we have to ask ourselves a question. We have to be ready for a question. And the question is, who are we going to honor? Right? Balaam was sent a request because these people that are anti-Israel wanted him as a prophet to speak a curse over the children of Israel. He's really not into this. He's like, hey, look, I really can't do what you're asking. I really can't even pretend to do what you're asking. They send more money, which is his vice. Many of us have vices, right? That's his vice, it's money. And so they offered him money the first time. He said, I'm not going to take the money. So what do? They just offer him more money, right? And so in offering him more money, what are we dealing with? They offering him more of himself. We talked about that before, right? His issue is money, right? And they want him to give a fraction of himself and pay him off for a fraction, that he'll stay in a fraction, but he's going to die going against the will of Yah rather than become his whole self. We talked about that in the series. And so he goes on this journey. He's walking down this place. He's forced into a position that he shouldn't be in. He's not even forced. He's going down this journey. How you doing, D? Right? He's going down this journey. And he's looking at these things. How you doing, Minister Shante? He's looking at what Yah has for him, right? Or what he's trying to figure out. Okay, Yah, you told me to do this. He let these people stay with him overnight. Now that whole spirit has resided. Now here he is trying to figure out how he's going to do this and stuff, how he's going to give just enough word that Yah gives, but at the same time be pleasing so man can give him a reward, all these different things, right? And now all of a sudden, he gets to a place to where he says what? Now all of a sudden, he gets to a place and the conversation is, hey, and this is, Balak, this is the man, this is the king, so to speak. This is the president of the United States. This is the mayor. This is the ambassador. This is the emperor coming out and saying, hey, man, what happened? I was looking for you. I sent for you the first time. Why didn't you come? I sent for you again. You ain't really show up. Now you finally showing up. He's like, man, what's wrong? You don't think that I can honor you? This is how the conversation starts. You don't think that I'm able to honor you? You don't think that I'm able to give you? You don't think that I'm able to make sure that I bless you? Right? Because he already sent word to me, said, I know the gift in you. Whoever you bless is blessed. Whoever you curse is cursed. If you curse these people for me, you don't think that I can bless you. You don't think I have the ability to bless and curse in my own time. I'm just asking you to go ahead and look out for me on this one thing. You can't give what I can give. Right? What took you so long? There are a lot of people. Thank you for the love. And how you doing? Is it Katrina? Thank you for being on with us today. Right? There's a lot of people who are ready to bless you. We talked about this somewhat before, right? But who will you honor? See, because we make the mistake of believing that a blessing can only come from the Most High. And that's a mistake. Do you not know a bunch of people can bless you? Right? A lot of people can give you a lot of stuff. Right? And we'll just we look for any blessing from anybody. What started this whole journey, Balaam was on it, almost got him killed, was because somebody offered him some money. He did the righteous thing and said, nope, it's not worth it. And then they said, we'll just double up and offer you some more. And we talked about this the first day, I believe, last Saturday, right? We talked about this the first day when we started this series. Well, a lot of people got a lot of stuff to say. If somebody offered me this, how you doing? Thank you for the love. And how you doing, Brightborn? If somebody offered me this, I'd never do this because, But what happens when somebody gives you so much of something that you desire? Because your desires are tainted, your desires are outside of the will of Yah. What happens when somebody gives you so much of something that you desire that you thought you would never see it before, and in your mind, you'll never see it again? Yeah, right? Blessings can come from the enemy too. Be careful who you take certain gifts from, right? Because they can be a curse. Right? We have this weird philosophy that because somebody, see, watch this. I don't know why it's surprising to us that somebody can preach you a word and be evil at the same time. Just because somebody can give you a word that makes you shout, it doesn't, right? Shouting is nice. They can give you a word where they actually speak something that's valuable for you to help you in life. But it doesn't mean, right, that person's a great person. Also, somebody can speak a word that sounds similar to what you want. Never say never. Yeah. It sounds similar to something you want, but it doesn't mean it's what you want. Or they can speak to what you want, but if your wants are perverted, it might not be what you need. Yeah, the enemy knows the word. This is one of the, may I let you in on one of my greatest irritations? I think I've talked about this a long time ago, but let me go ahead and bring this up again. It is very frustrating to me when I hear people, I've heard people say this before. I don't know where people get this, who started this or whatever, but people will be like, man, you need to speak in tongues. And I believe in speaking in tongues, by the way, that's not the problem. However, they'll say, you need to speak in tongues because the enemy will not understand what you're saying. You'll confuse the enemy. And it's like, do you not know that the enemy knows more tongues and knows more of scripture than you do? Chapter and verse for that. Yeah, right. But they'll be like, the enemy will be confused. They'll say stuff like, I wish I had a tongue speaking church. That's not even what tongues are used for. But they'll tell you, if you would speak in tongues, if you would speak, if you speak the, I've even heard people, if you speak the word of Yah, you will just speak a word, it will confuse and confound the enemy. Who do you think you're dealing with? See, we think that the enemy is stupid. We think that the enemy can't give. We think that the enemy cannot bless. You need to confuse the enemy in the spirit. What you going to confuse the enemy with? Like the enemy has already decided, even though it lost, it's already decided to take he has already decided to take as many people out with him as possible. He's not confused. He's haughty. He's high-minded, right? You see, and we honor this stuff. See, today we're going to talk about who are you going to honor? I ain't doing DA Shalom, right? Who are you going to honor today? What doctrine do you honor? Some of us are so quick to honor so many doctrines that you're so confused, right? Read as many lost books as possible to study them, but make sure you know the culture of what you study, because some people are honoring lost books that ain't even lost. They just lose people. If you catch what I'm saying there. Amen. Yeah, the enemy studies you well. Are you ready for what he studied? Are you ready for what he's found? He's found some things that might be astounding to you. Right? The enemy's found some things that might be astounding to you. See, one of the things that the enemy does is he studies us more than we study ourselves. He studies our culture more than we study our culture. He studies our language more than we study our language. He studies our marriages more than we study our marriages. He looks for the chinks in the armor. He looks for the eye of the needle. Oh, yes, he does. Just because we don't look for it, just because haven't been trained to look for it anymore, doesn't mean that he doesn't look for it. He looks for these things. He makes decisions based upon our lack of movement. He studies these things. And he studies our culture. He knows more about what we're going through than we know about ourselves. Right? We are so quick to just go with whatever somebody's saying, right? It's like what we were talking about yesterday, last night, and we went into talking about Hilkiah and talking about, what the creation and things like that or whatever. The enemy studies more of this than you study yourself. The enemy puts things in places, right, to where he recognizes and he knows, right, what you're dealing with. He knows what you're being taught in school. He knows what you have been schooled on as far as what to get rid of in your life. How you doing, Minister Morel? Right? He knows these things. Think about this, right? That's why, yes, be sober-minded. Watch this. Think about this. Like, have you ever thought about the fact that when it says be sober-minded, and we're going to talk about being honorable today, yes, but have you ever thought about the fact that being sober-minded, it's not just only talking about alcohol. It's not only talking about strong drink. It's talking about you got to be sober-minded. You have to be clear on this. Are you clear on this? Like somebody can't offer you more money and you say, okay, you offer me more money. All right, maybe I'll think different today. Are we clear on this? Are you clear on what Yah says in his word? Is it crystal clear? And even if it's not crystal clear, right, you might see dimly through through the glass. But have you seen enough, and are you clear? And are there certain things, right, that you are persuaded? Paul said that I am persuaded on this thing. Persuaded means that I have been influenced to the point I have done the research. I have looked at it enough from enough angles to be able to tell you that you cannot tell me different on this. I am a student of this. I'm also a master. A master is a rabbi. A rabbi is a teacher. I teach this. When we teach sovereignty 1, sovereignty 3, for those who take sovereignty 1, sovereignty 3, or sovereignty 2, those of you taking it before, you already know. First thing we're going to say in class is what? Remember, you are the master. Right? Don't assume the judge knows more about law than you do. Don't assume that you know more about, or that the police officer knows more about law than you do. Don't assume that the lawyer knows more about law than you do. You need to be the master. You need to be able to teach people this stuff. You said I used to always tell people the same thing you were saying. They didn't believe me. Yeah. And look, I'll be honest with you. And thanks for being part of the community. I used to not believe some of this stuff. I knew some of it. Some of it wasn't quite as clear to me or whatever. But that's why culture is important. So first thing that we should be honoring is the Most High. Yes, first person. But also first thing is the culture. See, Balaam was getting ready to go against the culture, the kingdom culture that had been put in there. Okay, Rob Gonzalez. Yashua is the way, the truth, and the life. Thank you so much. We're followers of the way. Hopefully you have a great day. It's interesting people come in. I'm going to throw this in here real quick and I'm going to leave. Like, okay. I don't see the God in that, but all right. Hey, how you doing, Marlon? So you have to be in a position, right? Are you ready to honor the honorable and all these things and all these teaching and all these cultural things and all the stuff that I'm putting up here and everything? Do you recognize what's necessary concerning honor? Right? You know why people don't like law? You know why people don't like law, or why people don't like things that are cultural? People don't like certain things. They don't even study what certain things are. They just talk bad about them. It's because you're not somebody who's trying to honor the culture. And thank you, Sean. I appreciate you. Thanks for being on. Right? You don't. So watch this, man. I'm going to give you a verse. I'm going to give you some scripture. You ready? Scripture says, you've heard this before. You've heard the scripture before. Y'all know the scripture, but we want to go a little deeper today. Right? We're talking about honor, right? Your gift, right? Matter of fact, this is in Proverbs 18, right? Before we get all the way down to verse 21 and 22. I think it's around verse 15, 16, somewhere in there, right? But your gift will make room before great men. So honoring the gift and developing the gift brings me in the room before great men. No problem. Honoring the gift brings me in the room before great men. No problem. Here's the next part though, right? Your gift will make room before great men, but here's what you need to remember now. If my gift brings me in the room before great men, once I get in that room, will I bow down to the men, or will I lean on the gift that got me there in the first place? Did you catch it? Let me say it again. My gift will bring me before great men. No problem, right? Now, once I'm brought in the room before great men, will I honor the gift that got me there, or will I bow down to the people who are now in the room? This is something that happens quite often, right? The gift gets you there. Amen. Like Joseph, right? The gift gets me there. And then when I get there, I try to change up what got me there. This is advice that's given to a lot of people in many walks of life, whether it be sports, motivational speaking, people who are in Congress, right? Whatever. A lot of people in Congress, they bow down. If your gift was powerful enough to get you there and they called you, once again, are people calling you, or are they calling your gift? Are people coming to the tree right? Calling the tree, or are people calling for the fruit that the tree gives, right? Your fruit is what they call it for. How you doing, Shabbos? How you doing, Shong Bai? How you doing, Brother Jermaine? How you doing, Sister Monica? How you doing, Isby Tyler? Right? It was the gift. It was the fruit that they were interested in. They weren't interested in the tree. They were interested in the fruit. It was not, and look, I've said this before, love y'all. Y'all know I love y'all, and I know y'all got love for me. I know y'all got love for my family. We wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for y'all. So, let's put that out there. I don't want anybody thinking I'm talking down upon them, right? But like we talked about yesterday, we just got to empty it out. We got to empty the clip, so to speak. We got to empty the vessel. We got to make sure that there's room to be poured into, right? So I'm not going to be holding on to anything. So hopefully y'all don't take offense to this. If the shoe fits, wear it. If it don't, take it off, right? I'm not here telling you this is you're a bad person. Just hear the context, all right? The fruit. How you doing, Bradley? I know the reason why you came upon me, and this is the way it should be. You were looking for something of Yah, or even if you weren't directly looking for it, Yah gave you something that was necessary as far as fruit. Some of y'all, they know me from a can of paint. Some of y'all, we still haven't met in person. Some of we haven't set up a meetup where you are yet, any of that, right? But the fruit, you saw something, you tasted and saw that Elohim is righteous in the fruit. You know his word. You're his sheep. The sheep know his voice. You heard me speaking and it sounded like his voice. You said, okay, I like the fruit. And then this and that or whatever, right? There's no harm in that. So when somebody comes, what happens is now, right, Balaam, you're going to be tempted, right? They know that you're a prophet. They told you that whatever you say is going to happen. But now that you're coming in their presence, they're trying to get you to twist what it is, right? To do what they ask. But hey, don't twist what got you there. The reason why they were impressed, the reason why they invited you, the reason why they hired you, the reason why they want your business, the reason why they're trying to put you on high, the reason why they're trying to put you on blast is what? Because of the fruit. Don't get away from what got you there in the first place. In sports, we say, hey, man, don't go away from what brought you to the dance, right? If getting to the Super Bowl was pounding the rock, don't get to the Super Bowl and start trying to throw for 400 yards. If you pound the rock, pound the rock. If what got you to the NBA championships is dunking on folk, don't get to the NBA championships and start trying to post up and shoot fadeaways and hit a three. Dunk on folk, right? Shaq, people talk about Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal was trash, this and that or whatever. All he had was this, all he had is that. Shaq, look, we don't need you to make sure that you shoot a bunch of threes. We got somebody on the team for that. Take the ball, back up on people, and yam it on them all day, every day. If somebody come in the lane, let them feel your presence physically. We don't need you to do 100 different things, Shaq. We got Kobe for this type of shot. Right? We got Derek Fisher for this type of shot of running the offense. We got Phil Jackson to make sure this stuff is going with the triangle and everything. We got we got this person, that person. You do what brought you here. Shaq, what got you paid all this money in LA? What got you all those commercials? What got you in movies? What got you those shoes? What got you it was the fact that you could yam it on folk and you were 7'1" and you was the biggest dude in the room. That's what we need from you right now. We don't need you to be anything else but what you are created to be. So you got to ask yourself, who am I going to honor? Am I going to honor the Most High and the gift that He gave me, or am I going to keep trying to switch it up? A lot of people keep trying to switch it up, right? A lot of people, you get to your job, and then once you get to your job, all of a sudden you start doing something different. You start becoming something different, something that you were never called to be. Why are you being different than what got you there? The Most High made you who you were. Who you were is what got you there. No, if I could just do a little different, if I could just be a little different, if I can just run a different, if I could just show this differently, if I can just do that. No, like the Most High got you there. And He created you specifically. And He put you in place specifically. You don't have to be anything different than what you were called to be. Right? That's why we say you were loved, you were necessary, you were majestic, you were fearfully and wonderfully made. Right? Like, this is the reason why we say that to y'all all the time. Why do we say that? Because you were made specifically in a certain way. How you doing, Sister Wendy? You were made for this. This is what got you to the dance. This is what got you to where you are. You were created for this. How you doing, Brother Henry? Right? So why would you, and this is one of the things that's there. I'm not saying that people don't need to develop anymore, but I said develop, but make sure there's pay attention to fruit. You know how many people in marriages, if you paid attention to fruit more than you paid attention to the tree, or more than you paid attention to other fruit that you ate from another tree, how many more marriages would be more successful? All right, Sister Elios, you have a great one. Thanks for being on with us, right? Like, how many more marriages would be better if we just focused on developing fruit? First of all, if we focus on the fruit, somebody shows up and they banana, but they give you bananas, but they keep talking about, I'm gonna give you apples when we get married. If you lay down with me, I'll start giving you pears. If you give me more time, I promise you, right? I'll give you pomegranates. No, you're a banana tree. I should know the tree by the fruit it bears. You out here giving bananas off out of your shoot and everything, right? You giving tomatoes off the vine after the flowers bloom. Out of the bloom of the flowers come the tomatoes. But you're making no. I need to see your fruit. If your fruit is tomato, I don't care what you say. Like if your fruit is tomato, it's tomato. Right now, also, if I marry the tomato, I'm not going to sit up there and be upset that the tomato is not giving me apples. If I marry the tomato, I need to make sure that I help develop so that more tomato shows up and that the tomato is healthier. I'm going to make sure I put nutrients in the ground that are just for tomatoes. How you doing, Reginald? Thanks for being on. I'm going to make sure that I aerate the soil more for the tomato. I'm going to make sure that certain things are planted around it to help. I might even plant some things around the tomato that help to make sure that things don't eat the tomato so that the fruit can even do better and be greater. But I'm not going to look for the tomato to be something that is not called to be. See, who will you honor? Who do you think you got married to? Talking about, I didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't know he was going to be this. I didn't know she was going to do this. I know. But did you not study fruit? Did you not know that's what? I'm just being honest with you. I can't stand it. I'm with a narcissist. What do you do when you're with a narcissist? Question: why did you get with a narcissist? Are you not aware what narcissists do? Did you not recognize the narcissist tendencies? Were you just in a bad place to where you were going to go ahead and honor narcissism, even though you knew at some point it was going to become dishonorable when you got out your funk? Did you think that you would be in your funk forever? Did you just hope that anybody would love you and you didn't care if they were righteous or not? And thank you for the love. How you doing, Hass? Right? Did you is that what you believed? You looking for non-narcissistic behavior from somebody who gives narcissistic fruit. If they give narcissistic fruit, then it's probably because it's from a narcissistic tree. If it's in a narcissistic tree, right, then I have to expect narcissistic fruit. That's just the way it is. If it's a narcissistic tree that doesn't give fruit, then it gives seed, or it gives, pollen. And the pollen gets spread so that more of it can go, right? I know what I'm dealing with. If I have a dandelion, I expect dandelions to spread. That's what they do. Right? And if you get with somebody that's a dandelion, realize that, hey, if I get with a dandelion can be bitter. So sometimes a dandelion gonna give it to me and it's gonna taste bitter. I'm not gonna like the taste of this. But if I marry a dandelion, also what? When I bite the dandelion, you know what? Even though it's bitter, I've got to remember this dandelion that I've chosen to eat of, it's bitter because it helps with my digestion. It helps with my blood, right? It helps with it helps me to be able to make sure that I can deal with parasites. So you know what? Even though the dandelion that I decided to marry tastes bitter, I'm okay with the bitter taste because it comes with better effects. So I'm not expecting this dandelion to be sweet. Now, I'm not saying that we should treat people like trash or let some people walk all over us. Thank you, Brother Brian. Appreciate you. And how you doing, right? And hopefully, Sister Brianna, if you are, how you doing as well? I'll be forgetting what the names are. They don't want to forgive me, right? So the dandelion, yeah, it's bitter, but I expect the dandelion to be bitter. You married a dandelion, but does the dandelion's bitterness actually heal in certain ways that if you had somebody that was sweet all the time, it wouldn't heal you in those ways? Grand rising to you. How you doing? You hear what I'm saying? Right? Like, know what the fruit is that you're dealing with. Know how to honor. Do you know how to honor? Have you studied your spouse to see how to honor them? Oh, it's both of them? Okay. Hey, how you doing? Right? Do you know how to honor? How you doing, Sister Dawn? What is the fruit that your business partner brings? Honor their fruit. I'm not expecting orange fruit to turn into pecans. That's not how that works. And I'm not expecting that if you're not an orange, watch this, if you're not an orange tree, then you're not worthy of being loved. That doesn't make sense because oranges do things that pecans don't do. Or pecans, whichever. Right, we were at a store somewhere. Where were we? I forget where we were at. We were at a store somewhere. And we said, it was very clear. You better say pecan. And then we went somewhere else, and it was pecan. Right. So whichever one y'all said. But I'm just saying, I'm not looking for. I recognize that certain fruit doesn't turn to certain fruit. Certain trees will not give me certain things. I love my wife. She is a tree that gives Maya's fruit. So I'm not looking for any other fruit to come from her. I'm going to help to develop Maya's fruit. It tastes like it tastes. It operates how it operates. It heals what it heals. And as a tree myself, my responsibility, right, as the male tree, is to make sure that she gets everything that's necessary so she can continue to develop her fruit. That's my responsibility. And so my responsibility is to make sure that she is set apart from, watch this, right? Ephesians 5, we just talked about this in marriage class last night. I made sure she's set apart, right? But that means she's set apart. There's nobody like her. Well, why is it there's nobody like her? Well, why is it that, when she does this and blah, blah, first of all, it's my wife. Number two, there's nobody like her. I'm not going to treat, right? I got 5 babies. I don't treat any of the 5 the same. What do you mean you don't treat any of the 5 the same? I can't treat them the same. That would be mismanagement. That would actually be a lack of love. You think it would be loving to treat all my children the same? I have to honor every child differently. I have a lot of people who listen to me and in a sense are spiritual children, right? I can't speak to any one of them the same. I can't check on any one of them the same. I can't have a conversation with any one of them the same because none of them are the same. And I can tell when one of them get ready to act up. I can tell when one of them get ready to quit. I can tell when one of them is perturbed with me. I can tell when one of them is like, you ain't giving me enough time. I can tell when one of them, because every single one of them is different. Right? So I don't expect things to look like you come to my wife and you expect certain, she should just tell you, man, you know what? That's just Kofi. And it's not saying she even agrees with all this. It should just tell, man, you know what? That's just Kofi. That's the way he is. They'd be like, yeah, but other guys don't do. Yeah, look, I'm not with other guys. That's just Kofi. That's the way he is. It's always wild. People come on here, hey, right? You gotta honor. Even learn how to honor yourself, right? How you doing, Miss Fleur? Yeah, and exactly, right? Like, hear what I'm saying, right? Like, you gotta honor who you are. People come on, you need to cut your hair and get a job. That's not who I am. I can't honor that. I tried to honor that. I really did. I've told y'all stories about how much I really wanted to work the 9 to 5 and the stuff I'm doing around the world now. I wanted to do for the greatest companies. I wanted to go to the biggest places. I showed them stuff in portfolios. I showed them my works. I showed them what we were doing on social media, and none of them wanted to give me a responsibility, but it's because it's not for me. So I tried to honor your system. Hey, Shalom, fam. How you doing? Right? I tried to honor your system, but it's not for me. And what I started realizing is, yes, my gift brings me before great men, but then I tried to keep sacrificing my gift to be like, hey, can I fit in with y'all today? Will you let me fit in with you? Will you pay me to do this? Will you give? At some point, why am I not realizing that I'm brought before great men because of what I bring? Amen, Sister Nadine. We say this all the time. If I ever get you to get to the point to where you realize that you are supposed to be unemployable, right? Now, if you're in a situation where you're doing your work, that's different. A lot of you just do your job. But if you're in a situation where what you're doing is your work or is getting you ready for your work, by all means, right? But real talk, right? And be faithful where the Most High has you, right? Because He could be training you on something. Don't go quit because you said Pastor Kofi said quit. I ain't say all that. See, and let her tell you what you're supposed to do. But hear what I'm saying. Hear what I'm saying, right? You need to get to a place where you are unemployable in the world because you won't make sense. When people keep trying to push you out the door, hang in there as long as you're supposed to. But realize they're supposed to try and push you out the door. They'll give you the promotion, but they'll still try to push you out the door. Why? Because you don't make sense. Because you don't honor what they want you to honor. I was working. Some of y'all probably know this place called Rent Center. Probably ran into it or seen it somewhere, and basically they overprice people for stuff. And I worked for them and stuff, and I learned the tricks of the trade. But one of the things that happened is we got to a place, like a lot of average stores, if you were doing pretty well for the average store, they would say you had like 200 something BOR. That means 200 something contracts. We were at a place where we started getting 700, 800. And you know why? How I would get that? I started telling them how the business worked, and I would look out for them, and I would gain relationships with these people, and I would say, hey, instead of paying on that television for like 2-3 years, right, paying way more than what it's worth, and by the time you finish paying it off, you want another one anyways. This is a television right here that somebody barely touched, but because they took it out the store and it came back, it's already lost some of the remaining value, the RV. Go ahead and take this. It'll be a little less now. Pay it off in 90 days. Don't give me the extra stuff. I'll tell them straight up. Like, I'll be like, I've looked at your finances. I've talked to your references, right? Because we don't do credit checks. So we have to go through some extensive stuff. I'll be like, I talked to your people. I know you can't really afford all the stuff you're coming in here for. Get the television first. Because once you own the television, that thing is owned. Now come back in here and get the couch, right? Be willing, humble yourself. Sit on the floor for 30 or for 90 days, or however long it takes you to pay it off, but pay off the TV so you don't have to pay the extra, right? They come in here and do this and then do that. And before you know it, I'd have somebody that would get 11 contracts with us, right? Because they knew that I was going to tell them the truth and I was going to take them outside of their budget. How you doing, Sister Helen? Right? So we would have these conversations. Yeah, they had you paying for it twice. So I would tell people how not to pay for it twice. And then I would tell them about our insurance policy. I'd be like, look, once you paid on this thing for 90 days, and once you paid on the insurance policy for 90 days, anything that you get from us from this point on, even after you paid it off, we will still come back and fix it for you. Really? Yeah. See, so now I'm keeping that person around out of what? Out of being honest, out of being honorable. So even though, right, and it was a gift that I had, I was teaching. People don't even think. See, I was at a job, but I was in my work at the same time. And I was learning how to do this stuff. And I would have district managers and regional managers upset at me because they'd be like, well, you're getting all this stuff, but we're not getting every last bit of money out of these people. But I'd be like, but look, I got 800. I done helped turn the store to where we got 800 contracts. How in the world are you going to turn that? You got only 200 over there. And so you can't make any money over there at all. You're doing just enough to be able to pay people off, keep stuff moving, and maybe make, a couple $100,000 a year off of a store. We giving you millions over here. And so they took that. So if you've ever done any business with Rent Center and you've heard worry-free guarantee, and all that stuff that happened, they tried that out at 4 stores across the nation. We were one of them because they wanted to see if since we were setting the standard, right? Like that's the type of stuff, right? Because I was in my gift. But man, if I can take that and do that for a store where all they're trying to do is finesse people, how can I do that in the kingdom? You see what I'm saying? This is why it's not a big deal for me to be able to say, oh yes. So see, I had the same thing in there. I was honored. My gift brought me before great men, and they were trying to get me to do all this stuff, right? But they wanted me to change what it was. But it was like, you can't argue the result. You can't argue the fruit. All I've done is some of the same stuff, right? Hey, you could go to somebody else's school that's accredited where they don't even teach you the same thing that we're teaching, and you can't even get the same thing. You could sow into somebody else who's not going to be up here making sure that they sow into you. You could sow into these people who are not in charge. You could do those things, right? And you could pay extra for it, or you can come with us. And yes, you might have to do this, but guess what? If you can pay this donation, right? We don't even take payments, right? If you can give this donation, then isn't that going to be something that's better than doing this or whatever? And you're going to get way more out of the donation, and it'll be something you can take in your house and own. And so humble yourself for a second and get this piece. And once you get this in your life, now start getting this piece. Once you get this in your life, now start piecing your house together that your family might work and operate different. I'm not doing anything outside of what the tree is. This is what I do. I'm a teacher. If I'm playing music and I'm playing with people, guess what? When I'm playing and I'm doing this and you see me doing these signals and doing this, and I say, okay, and I'll be like this and I do all this stuff, I'm actually teaching while I'm playing. That's the gift. That's the fruit. So in the office of pastor, the gift is still the same. I'm developing the teaching, right? And the land that's going to be developed, the gift is still the same. I'm going to be teaching. Tomorrow, when we have the Zoom meeting, right, for everybody, by the way, if you have the SOC community meeting, that link or whatever, we'll try to send it out on, we'll try to put it up on Google Calendar, invite everybody today, right? And we told you, everybody, please, if you can, invite your children of all ages, have the babies on there and everything, have them with a marker, have them with something that they can write if you got a whiteboard on there, because we're going to go over some Hebrew characters on a basic level, right? So everybody's invited. We want you to invite the babies and everything too, right? But hear what I'm saying and all that stuff. Every time you see me come on, what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be teaching. How you doing, good sissy? No matter what it is I'm doing. If I'm talking to somebody and they say, hey, I need you to go ahead and give me some advice, I'm going to be teaching. If somebody calls me up, hey, I need you to pray with me. Even in the prayer, you're going to find some stuff that comes out that's teaching. You know why? Because I can't help it. It's the fruit. You shall know the tree by the fruit it bears. That's a teaching tree. He can't help himself. And thanks to you for the love. And how you doing, Rose? Right? Like Rosemary. My wife would say, hey, man, you can't help it. Sometimes I got to tell them, like, hey, we just have a conversation. You going into teaching. I can't help it though. I got to teach. It's in me. Even when I try not to, even when I'm done, even when I'm having a bad day, and I'm like, I don't want to feel like talking to anybody. Let somebody get me on the phone for about 3-4 minutes, and I'll start off slow. But even if I don't want to do it, I can't help it, because even if I don't want to do it, I'm designed for this. I crave it. I crave to be taught. Because I'm a teaching tree. You hear what I'm saying? I love to be taught because I'm a teaching tree. I love to be a student because I love to be a disciple because I'm a master. I'm a teacher. I love to be a master because I'm a disciple. I love to be a disciple because I'm a master. I'm a teaching tree. I love it when my people get fed something about themselves that they never saw in themselves before. How you doing, Divine Insight? Because I'm a teaching tree. What kind of tree are you? It says in what we read in Numbers chapter 22 that Balaam, right, was brought before these people, was given all these gifts and was brought before all these people. His gift got him great men, got him paid up, got him suited up, got him booted up, all this stuff. And now he's ready to be out there in front of everybody. Now it's time to see who you going to honor. You going to honor what they ask, or you going to honor what the Most High asks? See, your gift will bring you before great men and women, for those of you who think that we're being patriarchal, right? Your gift will bring you before great people, or great persons. So question for you. When you get in front of them because you can cook like nobody else can cook, now are you going to change the recipe up? Does that make sense? That somebody hired you to be able to do this, and you say, "Oh, this is what people do." You get in front of these people, you say, "Oh, well, these aren't my people, so I don't know if they really gonna like this seasoning the way I use it, so I'm gonna change it up." And they say, "Oh, this is terrible. I thought that you were gonna give us what it is that I saw you cooking out there in the street." That's why I asked you to come from the street to the penthouse. You know what I'm saying? That's why I brought you off the street from the penthouse. That's why I brought you out the mud into the mansion. That's why I took you from being penniless to putting 150,000 in your pocket. Not because I wanted you to change, but because I needed what you brought. And some of this stuff, as much as I know there's a patriarchal society, as much as I know racism is real, as much as I know that women are mistreated, as much as I know that there are people that don't believe what you believe, all that stuff, a lot of times what happens is you get brought before great men and you start overthinking it. You change who you are because you think if I change, they'll keep me. But the only reason why they brought you in the first place is because you hadn't changed yet. Y'all don't want to hear this. Look. Why is it that somebody goes to get pho, P-H-O, Vietnamese food? I go to get pho. I'm not trying to go to the place to where they're changing up the recipe. Everybody, when they go to get pho, I want that basic same thing. Guess what pho comes from? Pho comes from poor people. If you've ever had it before, pho is a poor person's dish. A lot of dishes that y'all like are poor people's dishes that poor people had to have. They had to find something, and sometimes even it's not healthy. Now, pho is basically supposed to be pretty healthy for you until they start adding, all the hot sauce and all the other stuff, right? And the peanut sauce and all that, depending on how they make the peanut sauce and all that. But pho is supposed to specifically, it was made because people who ain't had no money needed something. That's why, hey man, you don't see a bunch of meat in there. What do you see? You see the discards. Now, they don't put like the guts and all that stuff in there, but they'll put like the sinews, and they'll put the legs, and they'll put like certain pieces of stuff that's left over, and you'll see a bunch of leaves, and you'll see a bunch of different things like sprouts, because these are things that you can find anywhere. So they just find these things or whatever, they put them together, they make sure that they let it stew overnight, and then next day you had pho, everybody could eat it, you can scoop up your own thing, you can have bowls of it, right? You can have plenty of noodles, all that stuff. It was poor, and so now what's become a poor person's food is something that now elite rich folk want to go to the pho restaurant because it hasn't changed. Why is it that people like fried chicken? Fried chicken was not a meal for everybody. Fried chicken was a necessity. We ain't got no food. We got to figure out something. What can we do with these chickens running around? How can we make this last? How can we bread it? The bread will give us a little more, make you get a little more full. Right? It didn't change. Fried chicken ain't changed. Right? I'm not trying to get fried chicken with a bunch of extra stuff, or make sure that you put, people getting all this other stuff, and let's make sure that we put candy in it now, or let's deep fry this way, or let's make sure that it's fried but then aerated, or let's make sure that it's fried and then fried again and then fried again, or let's make sure that it's fried. No, look, just give me, if I have it, I don't do as much fried chicken anymore, but if I have it, just give me some plain fried chicken, please. I don't even need as much as because especially when you fry stuff, you don't even need that much seasoning for real. I'm not saying like be stingy, and I'm talking about you don't need I don't need 11 herbs and spices. You know what I'm saying? Like fry that thing up, put some simple stuff on it. Right? Put some simple stuff on it. Put 1-2 different things, put it in some flour, put it in the grease. I'm ready to go. Right? Like, because that's what I'm looking for. The recipe doesn't need to change that much. I'm looking for the original. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against origins, against kingdom origins. I don't need a bunch of different stuff, right? I know what fried chicken is. Just give it to me. Yeah, bully beef and rice. Yeah, there you go, right? Jamaican, yeah, pork, right? Like, and people don't even think, even jerk chicken. You go to some of these restaurants, right? And if you raised with, I was raised with Jamaican grandmother, so to speak, and my mother was in my life, but I'm saying like I was around her a lot. Like you go somewhere else and you get some of this jerk, you're like, what are they doing? Like they adding this and doing this, and it's like you doing too much. You doing too much. You know what I'm saying? Like when you've had the real thing, you really be looking for the simple. You said you did 11 and 11 herbs, right? But I'm just saying, like, you're doing too much, right? If I go to Japan and I'm sitting up there and I'm gonna have some ramen, like a lot of stuff that y'all be seeing and stuff like that, like y'all be doing too much, right? Like I don't need a whole bunch of stuff that y'all putting on there. Y'all doing too much. Make that thing simple. I'm not saying that you can't add this and add that, but look, man, some of the stuff on there, they might put an egg in that piece, they'll put some herbs, things like that, they'll put different things like that. But basically, like they're looking for a simple thing. That's it. It doesn't need to have all this extra stuff on it, right? And I'm saying all that, getting back on track now. I'm saying all that to say this: you might be giving somebody way more than what Yah gave you to give. He gave you something simple. Make the simple great, right? You should know the tree by the fruit it bears, right? If he gave you apples, make sure that your apples are pristine. Stop talking about all the stuff you're gonna dress the apple up with. I'm gonna skin the apple. I'm gonna make sure the seeds are on. I'm gonna make sure that I put other fruit around it to dress it and stuff. But if your apple is trash, it's still trash. Learn how to be great in this area and watch the thing you were great at make room for you. Honor the gift. If y'all told you to be a great, some of y'all look down, are afraid that people will look down upon you. But some of y'all's houses are immaculate. You might want to start looking into, man, am I a great cleaner? Do I ask some of y'all like going over people's homes that you know, your family members and stuff, and you go, man, let me help you clean this up. And you make it look better than what it's ever looked like before. Some of y'all have businesses lined up for that. How you doing, Sister Mary? Mary Dawkins, how you doing? Right? So some of y'all got businesses. You have visions. You have goals. You have ambitions. You have dreams that have been put inside you, and you won't even look at it because you're like, well, I'm not a janitor. Who said that you have to be a janitor? By the way, if you're a janitor, who said that being a janitor doesn't bring glory to the Most High? Somebody got to clean the building. You think in these corporate buildings you go to, just because the world looks down upon those who make them look great doesn't mean you should. Who are you going to honor? That person who you look down as a janitor, do you not know that the person who got the contract to clean the building at some point probably was a janitor? Bakutav Sister Bakutav Achiachim, how you doing? Right? If you knew what was in that janitor, you wouldn't look down upon him. I've been homeless before. I know what it is to preach a word or to speak something at huge places, to go out and speak, not even be the speaker, but people know the gift that I have, allow me to speak. Everybody's mesmerized. And then I ask somebody, can I use their phone? Because I don't have a phone. I can't afford one at the time. And now when I ask them for a phone, now everybody starts looking at me funny as if I didn't just speak a word to your heart. Right? This is years ago. Right? This is a decade or 2 decades ago, just about now. Somebody could have seen the gift that was in me and sown. Or actually, I'm sorry, about 15 years ago, excuse me. Somebody could have seen the gift in me and sown then. Right? But I had to realize that, hey, I had to honor the truth. I could have just been like that, try to play it off, and then not had a place to go. But guess what? Like I told them the truth. And some people, they can't handle. We talked about this the other day. Some people can't handle all of you. How you doing, Cause for Irons? Some people can't handle all of you. Foolish be the man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're the best cleaner ever. Yeah, you might have a business in you. You never know, right? And think about what it is that you would do for free. What would you do for free? See, I did this for free. I told y'all, when nobody would give me an opportunity, I'd be outside. I couldn't help myself. I'd be out in the trees, preaching to the trees. I couldn't help. I had to get it out of me, right? Like I did that. I didn't do that. I didn't just only preach when nobody paid me. I'm talking about I didn't only preach when nobody gave a donation. I didn't only preach when nobody would even when they would barely give me an opportunity. I'm talking about when nobody would give me an opportunity and I knew the gift that I had. I was outside preaching to trees. It sounds crazy, but it's because I would have gone crazy if I hadn't got it out of me. What'd you say, Minister Tamara? 1 Corinthians 2, 1-5. Right? There's something in you that if you would do this thing, people say, how do I know my gift? What's the thing that you do that you be sitting up there, you be trying to act like you're not doing it, somebody open the door real quick, and then all of a sudden you try to act like you weren't doing it? What's that thing you used to do when you were a child in the mirror? And you were practicing. What's that thing you do as an adult when you be sitting up there and some of y'all be speaking with a brush. Some of y'all used to sing with a brush in the mirror, stuff like that. Maybe you don't have a singing voice, or maybe you never developed it. Maybe you never took a class. Maybe you were closer than what you think. You said the trees were listening. Amen. And the trees were listening. Actually, that's scientifically accurate. Right? The angels were listening. Right? I was being developed. 2 Corinthians. We're just going to read this. Let's honor this. You said 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 1-5. Sorry, y'all. We just lost TikTok for a second. Somebody tried to call. Okay, we got y'all back. All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 1-5. Those who have it, or if once you have it, say amen, say I'm with you, say I'm listening, say I got it, whatever you need. Let's give you some time to get there. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 1-5. Right? Okay, I see. I got you. Great reference. Hallelujah. All right. Okay, here we go. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 1-5. It reads, I, brethren, when I came to you, came not with excellency, right, of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of Elohim. So when I showed up, right, don't think about when I came to you, right, it was excellency of speech. Was it excellent speech that got you? Was it wisdom? Or was it me declaring the testimony of Elohim? Verse 2, for I determined not to know anything among you, save Yahshua HaMashiach and him crucified. That's powerful. Yeah, I could have came and tried to blow you out the water with my wisdom and the way that I can articulate and the way I can bounce certain verbs and conjugate in certain manners to make you regard all of the building of sentences that I'm able to proclamate in many different variances to ensure that you would be able to rise up and to say that, yes, Kofi must indeed be on the endeavor to ensure that the people and the nation that must be built and proclaimed all upon the edifices of all the world shall hear this stuff. But no, I came to you saying I don't really know much outside, if anything, onely, like we talked about in Numbers 22, only or only. The only thing that really matters that I'm talking about is what the Most High says. That's the fruit. That's the voice that the sheep should know from the shepherd. That's all I know. Anything else is a lie. How you doing, Israel's Blueprint? That's a whole lot right there, right? So verse 2, for I determined. He said, I determined not. I made it a point not. It was not my will. It was not my will. It was not my thought process. It was not my will, divine insight. It was not my will, Steve Smith or Steve. It was not my will, Israel Blueprint. It was not my will, Kofi. It was not my will. He's telling us, I determined, I made it a point to not know anything among you. I came in with nothing among you. When I come before you, I'm not bringing anything with me except what the Most High says. That's what it says. I ain't bringing Nathan with me except what he told me to bring. The gift will make room for me. So when I show up in the room with the gift, it's not me that shows up. I'm just bringing the gift. Well, could you change it up? That's not how the gift works. I made a determination, okay, that I don't know nothing outside of what the Messiah has and what he and how he died, how he was crucified for it. That's all I brought. Verse 3, and I was with you in weakness and in fear, respect, and in much trembling, even being afraid sometimes. I was with you even in your weaknesses, your frailties, the things that really make you valuable as well. How you doing, Brother Vincent? I was with you in the things you respect. I was with you in the things that made you afraid. Verse 4, and my speech, watch this, and my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power. Wait a minute. Don't miss that. And my speech and my preaching, my speech towards my preaching, what? Was not with enticing words of a man's wisdom. So if you came here to hear a man's wisdom, you came to the wrong place. Hey, how you doing, Sister Keita? And it's 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 1 through 5. Right now we're in verse 4. If you come here looking, and this is why some people don't get it. Some people come on here and they're actually waiting for me to give them wisdom, but they're looking for the wisdom of a man. This is where you messed up. If you're looking for the word of Yah, you can't come here looking for a man. That's why I said it's righteous when somebody is not looking for me to take care of the tree. They're looking for my fruit. Don't look for the tree. The tree, right, is basically no greater than the root. The root is no greater than the soil. The root is no greater than the water. The root is no greater than how everything around it has been created. So when you eat from the tree, you must comprehend, if you know how this works correctly. We were talking about this yesterday when we were talking about the choir, right? We were talking about this yesterday when we were talking about the choir. Let's look at this again. Right? Remember, when we talk about Shemayim and we talk about Hakai, or what a lot of you call the firmament, we're talking about, it's called heaven. So anything that comes out the atmosphere comes out of the first heaven. In beginning, in beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth. So anything that's coming out of the atmosphere is coming out of what? It's coming out of heaven. Right? Trees create oxygen that goes out into the atmosphere. If I'm eating the fruit, I'm eating something that comes from the tree anyways, that creates oxygen. I'm even eating heaven. See, this is when we talk about heaven. Remember, and at some point in the Q&A, we got to get back to the spirit, the soul, and the flesh. Hey, how you doing, off grid? Right? But anything that I'm eating, if it's natural, it's from heaven anyways. It's all connected. Did you catch that? Did you see that? Right? So I should make of myself no reputation, because anything I'm getting, watch this. If I'm preaching to you, don't I have to receive oxygen before I can give out the word? Which means that if I'm preaching to you, if I'm teaching to you, it's nothing on me anyways, because if it wasn't for heaven, even physically, if it wasn't for the manifestation of heaven, I couldn't preach a word. Oh, come on, somebody. That's a word right there. I know somebody that's new for you, but it's righteous. It's eternal. If it wasn't for me breathing in, that's heaven. That's how that works. And I breathe in heaven. That's the oxygen, and I breathe out heaven. That's the carbon dioxide. And when I breathe out the carbon dioxide, the plant breathes in heaven, the carbon dioxide, and it breathes out oxygen. Heaven. The kingdom of heaven is in me, and when I preach it, I expel it. And in order to expel it, I must receive it. And in order to receive it, I must expel it so it can be received. This is biblical. This is cultural. This is a different context. This is a different mindset. Come on now, right? So and just like Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth the way it is in heaven. I breathe it in. He gives a decree. The manna rains down from heaven. I breathe it in. I speak what he says. It goes back unto him. He increases it. He breathes it in. He says, this is sweet smelling unto my nostrils. I breathe it out. It comes unto you. Come on, somebody. This is a word right here. Don't miss what the Holy Spirit is saying right now. You got to comprehend. See, who are you honoring? I have to honor heaven at all times, because I can't even move without heaven. This is why we say, without him, I cannot live. I cannot breathe. I cannot move. I have no being. Why am I saying that? Because if it's not for heaven, then I couldn't do what I'm doing anyways. How dare I disrespect heaven and end up in hell when I wouldn't even have an opportunity to get out of hell if it wasn't for heaven. Some of y'all gonna get breathed in heaven your whole life and still somehow find a way in hell. Make it make sense. Come on, somebody. This is the word. Come on. Thank you all for the love. Appreciate it. How you doing, Sister Deborah? You're right. You breathing in. You have literally the kingdom. Everywhere you walk around, heaven should be with you. You can't help it. Who created the heaven and the earth? Anything inside his creation is of him. This is why it's sad when people end up in hell, whether there's hell after they're buried or you're going through hell right now. It's sad when you have separated yourself from the Most High, because that's what hell truly is. It's separation from the Most High. It's sad when people separate themselves from the Most High, because why would you give up heaven? Unless somebody told you hell is heaven. Thank you for the love. How you doing, Kat? Right? Why would you give up heaven? Why would you give up peace in your life? Somebody offered you 100,000, so you give up peace. Look, real talk. I'm a living, proven being of it. I travel and I do stuff all the time, and I'm able to take care of my family well and do all this stuff or whatever. I'd rather execute in peace for 30, 40, 50,000 a year than make $400,000 a year and have no peace, have no heaven. I'm just saying. I've been to do travel all around the world, can pay for this. Hey, let's just do it. Hey, we can go to the restaurant, no problem. Might not cook anything for a few weeks because we just don't feel like it, or just because we on the road. And I've been there, done that. I've also been the dude that, hey, you know what? If we're gonna eat today, we're just gonna eat what we gather up. We're gonna forage. And I can tell you, all I want is peace. If he'll give me 5 million, I'll take it, but give me the peace that surpasses all understanding, right? I don't want I don't want to have to make. Well, I want to have to make the choice. I don't want to have to ever think about even. I don't. It doesn't even equate to me. It's hard for me to even discuss a choice that doesn't keep peace, especially as a brother. Brothers more so. I'm not saying sisters don't like peace. Y'all like peace, but y'all like it in a different way, right? Brothers will go through all types of extremes just as long as, can I get 2 hours peace? Like, I'll do all this stuff. I'll remove this. I'll get yelled at. I'll go to this job. I'll go to that. I'll function this. I'll pull this. I'll do whatever you ask me to do. I'll take care of this child. I'll do that. Just, can I get 2 hours peace? And peace don't even have to be, I'm not doing anything. Just whatever I'm doing, can it be peaceful? That's why your daddy used to wake up and he used to go in the bathroom. And yeah, he might use the bathroom, but he ain't using the bathroom for 3 hours. But he might sit in the bathroom before everybody get up for 3 hours. You know why? That was peace. That's all he was looking for. He go in there, right? And he'd be sitting there and you'd be like, Dad, what you doing in there every rising? Man, I'm just reading the paper on the toilet for 2 hours. He wasn't using the toilet for 2 hours. It was just a place where, look, can I get some peace to start the day? That's it. That's all I want. If you let me get some peace, right? Your daddy was like a bear, right? Bears, every once in a while, need hibernation. They got to go all this stuff, and they're going to be eating and doing all this and hunting and doing all these different things all year long. But hey, I need some time to hibernate. If you're going to give me the hibernation place, if I can't get the man cave, if I get the man cave, ain't nothing more than the hibernation place. Let the bear go in this cave. And once the bear goes in this cave and it hibernates, you might be surprised how loving the bear is and how kind the bear is and how gentle the bear is. If the bear is full, you might be surprised that the bear is not going to come and swipe his paws at you. Because if the bear is not trying to eat you, if the bear has a better supply of something else, or if a whale washes on shore, or if salmon are coming through, or if there's berries out there or whatever, the bear is not trying to chase all the other stuff. The bear is not trying. The bear is trying to conserve energy. Right? And the bear is trying to eat things that give calories. You don't get no calories. If a bear is hunting you because if a bear is hunting a human being, that bear is starving because you can't do nothing for a bear. You're not even a last resource. The bear is losing its mind, right? So I promise you, let that man go into the cave. I'm not saying you got to give him a man cave, even though that'd be nice if you can afford it. But I'm saying let that man have his cave experience. At least every once in a while, let him go into the cave and see if he come out. When he come out the cave, he might give some affection. He might give some security. He might give some finesse. He might go do some shopping. You'd be surprised what he does when he's full. You might be surprised what he does when he's had a chance to rest. Anyway, verse 4, 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 4. And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power. Verse 5, that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of Elohim. You hear what I'm saying? That your faith would not stand. My faith is not supposed to stand in the wisdom of man. Uh-oh. What I preach doesn't make sense in a man's world. The world, it doesn't make sense. Create heaven for your wife doesn't make sense for people. They say, how would I create heaven? She got to create heaven for me, and then I might create heaven for her. That's not what I operate in. If she don't do this, I ain't gonna do this. That's not how I operate. See, this is why I have a problem when I try to talk to people and they try to hit us with the patriarchal stuff. You're patriarchal and you're talking about this, you're talking about that. My patriarchs don't look like your patriarchs, though. Right? We don't have the same master. My patriarchs don't look like yours. I'm sorry to tell you. Right? My patriarchs don't look like your patriarchs. They just don't. We don't operate the same. I'm sorry if that's offensive to you. It is what it is. We don't operate the same, right? You know what? He's just trying to make sure that women bow down and this and that or whatever. I've never said such a thing. You're coming with the wrong place. Once again, see, and when somebody comes with that, I have to look. I check myself. What do I check myself? Who do I honor? What got me to the dance? What is it that brought me here? Should I change it up because somebody's offended? Or should I make sure that I keep on going? Because if somebody really wants to know what I'm saying, we have hours of videos. Right? We have thousands of people who've heard this word. If they really want to research it, they could easily research it. So will I change it because somebody doesn't like it? This is what got me here. This is what causes people to have better marriages. How you doing, Crystal? So if it's working people's marriages and one person doesn't want to do it, should I change it up because one person doesn't want to do it, even though we've helped, I don't know if I can say hundreds, but over 100 marriages. Should I change it up because one brother or one sister doesn't want to do it? This is what got us here. Right? Once again, just because somebody brings you in and they can pay you, they say, man, I'll honor you, I'll do this. Like, look, you must comprehend that you weren't honoring me in the first place. You're honoring the one who created the fruit. Did I create the fruit? See, this is when we get in trouble. Because see, some people say, well, I'm a self-made billionaire. I'm a self-made millionaire. I'm a self-made entrepreneur. You ain't make yourself. Hush. In the spirit, I say, hush. You ain't make nothing. You were made. Now, you were fearfully and wonderfully made, but you were made. You ain't create yourself. The same person who will say, I'm self-made, will be the same person turn around and say, well, ain't nobody choose to be here. Well, which one is it then? You know what I'm saying? You didn't make yourself. It is not we who made ourselves. Is that a true statement? Did you make yourself? Is it a true statement to say that did you create your own experiences? Because people say stuff like that. I want you to hear what we might be honoring. Right? You hear people say, you make your own experiences. Did you? Show me how you made your own experiences. Well, if you hadn't spoken into existence, it wouldn't be here. Before you had lips formed. Well, no, because when you were born, you spoke something now. When you spoke something now, what happened is you basically, now when you're 15, you spoke something. And so you spoke something back into your mother's womb and this and that. You're reaching more than what you say I am. You reaching more than what you say. You say I be reaching. You reaching right now. Right? There's an old saying, you reach, I'll teach. So you keep reaching. Let me teach you something real quick. Right? You reach, I'll teach. Right? For those who play basketball, you know what that is, right? You reach, I'll teach. So while you're reaching, I'm going to go ahead and teach you a little something. Before the earth was created, you already had a relationship with the Most High. You behind. You talking about the earth and how old the earth is. Your relationship with the Most High was something that was broken by sin. Did you ever realize, have you ever taken thought to think to yourself that Adam, when he was created, never had to learn how to talk? He didn't have to learn how to walk. He didn't have to make sure that his muscles got strengthened. Eve, same thing. You ever thought about that? You said that fantastic forereach, right? Why do you think they never had to learn it? Because they had never been cut off from themselves. Okay. I'm not saying that animals don't need to grow, but catch some of this. Right? When the dolphin is born, the dolphin knows how to swim. I'm not saying they don't need to be protected or anything. I'm not saying they have to get milk before they can eat. Hear what I'm saying? When a dolphin is born, the dolphin knows how to swim. When the snake is born, the snake knows how to slither. And the baby snake better hunt something pretty soon. It knows how to hunt. If it doesn't hunt, it's pretty much not gonna make it. If it doesn't get something to eat pretty quick, it's not gonna make it. They got some stuff to eat out of the egg, and after that, it better learn how to hunt something else, or it's not gonna make it. Right? When the shark is born, right before the shark is born, even in some species, they're already hunting inside the womb. Right? They have a natural instinct, the way they've been created. Right? Nothing broke them in a certain sense. Nothing broke them from what they were in that sense. They kept their natural origin, environment, things like that for sure, right? I'm sorry, I missed Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5, right? I don't know why that's not clicking in my head, but we're going to go there in a second, right? But I'm going to hang on this for a second. But see, and it never lost its natural environment, right? But you lost who you were in your nature. So guess what? You're born. Guess what you can't do? You can't talk anymore. You can't walk. And if you take a baby, right? If you take a newborn baby, right out the womb, and you stand them up, and you put them like this, and you put their feet on you, they'll try to walk. It's natural instinct. We're the ones They're like, no, we don't want to put pressure on them. We don't want to do this, but they're ready. And even when they get to a place where more weight gets on those legs, where it becomes more difficult for them to walk or do those things or to jump while you're holding them, put them in some water, put them in the bathtub, watch them start walking again. They have it in them. We don't even think about trying to connect them to what's in them. I'm telling you what I've seen with my own eyes. Baby talk to you when they're 2 years old. I'm sorry, not 2 years, 2 days old. Not even 2 days old. Look them in the eye, say hi, and watch them say hi right back. And I've also seen the same baby that happened with. All of a sudden, parents get scared, this and that. Well, we don't want to overdevelop their brain and this and that. What you mean? This baby is fearfully and wonderfully made, especially if they went through the natural birthing process. That would be a whole other thing to talk about, right? The nature of birth, of being born, rather, how your child, and yes, I know lawfully in Western law, you got to be careful about using children because children literally means a child is being rented. So I get it, right? You want to talk about your child versus children, or you have a lot of, you have, or some people try to get you to say offspring, which is animalistic, but in the West, I guess offspring is different than children. I get what you're saying, but that's a whole conversation for another time. But so we can get into some of this stuff, but ultimately, I want you to realize and recognize, right? Getting to this Balaam doctrine, it's dangerous because Balaam doctrine has you leaving your gift at the door or trying to change your gift up or trying to change what it is the first time. You said first time you said your baby should turn your head when you spoke. The doctor said, "Oh, mama, this one is you." Amen. What was that one earlier? Jeremiah, right? Jeremiah 1:5. I don't know why I should know that right off the top of my head. I don't know why I don't remember that one, but Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5, real quick. Let me just at least turn to it. I don't know why I'm tripping. It's not hitting. As soon as I read it, I'll be like, duh. I should have known what this was. Here we go. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Yeah, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew, right? I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Right? Amen. Right? So before you were formed in the belly, I already knew you. The problem is that you forgot me. Same thing that happens with your gift. How you doing, Sister Rachel? Right? How you doing, Hakima? Excuse me. Right? Before you were formed in the belly, I already knew you. Before the business started, I already knew you. Before you were brought before great men, I already knew you. I saw this. I foresaw this. I foreknew this. I foreknew you. I gave you this gift, knowing that this gift was going to be what propelled you. Why would you get to this level now, and now you're gonna leave the gift behind? I brought you to this with this gift. You're gonna leave it behind now? Why will you honor them more than what I got you to them? Did you catch that? Why do you honor them more than what got you to them? This happens all the time. Well, I want to do this, but if I don't do this, I can't get to them. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to change up this, and then okay, then now they told me I got to do this, and they told me I got to fill out this paperwork, and then they told me I had to do. What do you have that will make them say, get rid of all the red tape? What will make the red tape part like the Red Sea or the Sea of Reeds? What do you have that will make the highest person up say, we need that person to come and see us? And if you have something that doesn't allow that particular place, then that place might not be for you because they don't house your gift. If your gift can't be housed there, then don't take it there. How you doing, William? Thanks for being on. So worshiping the creation, not the Most High Creator. Yeah, who got you here? Yeah, right. Like Like, we got to recognize that. We got to see what's going on. Like, what got me here? What got my family here? What brought you to the dance? Like we're talking about with sports. What got you here? What made your marriage work? What made you a wife in the first place? Did you develop that? Sisters, I'm gonna be careful because I don't want to put anybody's business out. So forgive me if I am kind of elusive in this. It's because I don't need everybody knowing everybody's business. Sisters, hear me and hear me well. What makes you a wife should be what a husband protects. How you doing, Brother TJ? Right? Sisters, hear me and hear me well. What made thee a wife should be what a husband protects. So if he's a husband, right? Because in our culture, you should be pre-qualified to be a husband and pre-qualified to be a wife. How you doing, Sean B? So if he can't keep his hands off you before it's time for y'all to lay down, but he can't keep his hands off you, is he willing to secure you once you become his wife? Hear what I'm saying? Because I told my wife when I first got with her, I said, when you are ready to lay down with one another, that we can start talking about, marriage and stuff. Because once we lay down in my culture, once we have sex, in my belief system, according to the Bible, you are my wife. So I'm not going to push it ever on you. You won't have to worry about me asking. You're not going to have to worry about me putting my hands on you. You're not going to have to worry about if I'm feeling it or not. You're not going to have to worry about me ever saying, let's just spoon, let me stick the tip in, all this foolishness. You ain't going to have to worry about if you're wearing the finest thing and your stuff is showing and everything around me or whatever, because I'm going to protect you, even from me. Hear me and hear me well. I'm trying to tell you how husbands work. Pre-qualified, right? The second that we ever do that, I need you to comprehend that I'm going to go into a different mode, right? But if we're going to do that, if we're going to go that route, hey, that means that I got to prepare a place for you, and you got to make sure you prepare yourself for me. If we're not ready for that, then let's not even go down this route, because I'm not thinking date and this and that or whatever. The second that you and I ever say that we're going to be husband and wife, and we start thinking about it, that means at some point we got to become one. So until you're ready to make that happen, let's not go down this road, because I've got to be right. Because at that point, I'm not going to look at you as just a sister, just a woman, just a date, just somebody that we happen to like each other a lot. But no. Like, you must be protected. I'm already, as a husband, I'm working in pre-qualified husband. I'm already sanctifying you. I'm already setting you to the side, even from myself. Oh, I'm sorry. I said Cat earlier. I'm sorry. I thought you were somebody else's name. At ATT daughter of Zion. Sorry. My bad. Right? Like, already setting you to the side. Like, even from me. So if this brother, if he gonna lay down with you, I gotta ask you a question. See, because you are a wife. You are a woman of Zion. I don't even care. I'm not saying that you have no culpability. I'm not saying you have no accountability. Hear what I'm saying, right? Brothers, that's not what I'm saying, but hear what I'm saying. Hear exactly what I'm saying, right? Hear the context. If I would lay down with you and you're not my wife, and we haven't made sure this is correct according to the will of Yah, and if we haven't gone through the process that we're supposed to go through and all the different things we're supposed to do together, if we haven't gone through that, but I would still lay down with you, it means that while you were a wife, I didn't protect you. So in my mind, this is just the way our culture thinks, whether you feel it's right or not. I'm just telling you what it is. In our culture, if I wouldn't protect you and make sure I didn't lay down with you when you weren't my wife, when I become your wife, when you become my wife, I would start thinking to myself, am I really going to protect you? I wouldn't protect you before. Now that we married, I'm going to protect you now. How you doing, Hidden? I'm not trying to put nobody on blast. I'm just trying to tell you the way this thing works. Okay, now we married. Now I'm going to make sure that I take care of the bills. No, I'm preparing a place for you. I'm preparing a place for you. I should be taking care of some of them things now. Oh, see, that's your problem. You the reason why you were simp. No. See, you're dealing with the place. If I'm preparing a place for you and you're out there getting sure you do stuff, guess what? I've already paid in my culture. I've already paid a dowry for you. I already gave your family money. Take care of yourselves. Make sure my wife is taken care of. Right? I'm going to prepare a place. And if more is required of me, no problem. Because I would have already been left an inheritance to do so. You're coming out of a different culture where you've been taught to have nothing, to leave nothing. And if you leave nothing, wait till you're dead. And then when you're dead, you still leave that something, but you leave bills too. This is what we were taught by somebody who enslaved us. But in our culture, we got to have something to leave. For when the boy leaves the house, when he leaves the house, he should already have an inheritance. And when he finds his wife, we already got money saved up that he can pay the family to say, hey, look, okay, we know your daughter is of value and we want to show that we're serious. And we want to make sure that we as families that are going to connect and unite, we want to make sure that we as the husband family are going to take care of the wife family. There's a lot of principles going on. But see, we don't honor those things. How can you honor those things what you've never heard? Romans chapter 10, verse 13 through 16. I haven't mentioned this in a while, but I used to mention this almost every day. Romans chapter 10, verse 13 through 16. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for bringing this to our remembrance. Anyone who calls upon the name of the Lord, they shall be saved. But how can one be saved if they don't believe? And how can one believe if they haven't heard this? And how can one hear it if it's not preached? And how can the person preach it if they're not sent by the Most High, if they're not of the right culture? For how beautiful are the feet of those who preach this thing while walking in the way. Therefore, as Isaiah said, who shall believe our report? Who's been reporting to you about marriage? The people who 50 to 70% divorce rate, or kingdom citizens, kingdom sovereigns? Yeah, you can't honor what you don't know. Even if you have the right instincts, you can't honor what you don't know. A lion has a great instinct, but if it's been in the zoo, it don't know how to hunt. Yeah, the naysayers have taught us. The people who tell you that they don't like your hair are supposed to tell you how to like your marriage. Come on, somebody, make that one make sense for me. Somebody help me with that. The people who don't like your hair are supposed to tell you how to live in your marriage. And you sign your marriage over to them with the contract, with the state contract. The people who don't like your skin color are supposed to teach your children. Well, not every teacher doesn't. Okay, fine. They work for a school system that was designed for slaves and for poor whites. And then the Rothschild, I'm not the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds didn't do many things, but the Rockefellers came and then developed it even further. I'm just saying, you say, like, you'll send your child to school and you say, I don't comprehend why my child's acting like that, because they go somewhere that they don't teach them now. I said this before, I say it again. See, your gift brought you before great men. So you saw this child with a gift to preach, and rather than get it refined by people who are of their culture, you sent them to somebody else's school. And then they come out of that school and y'all be saying what your grandmama used to say, boy, you ain't in your right mind. Girl, you ain't in your right mind, because they ain't. And I know ain't great English, but it is what it is. Right? You ain't in your right mind. They were spitting bars back then without having to make sure that they had the proper verbiage and vernacular. Right? They were telling you the truth. You left here and you had a mind of who you were. You came back and you ain't got no mind. You left here righteous. You came back. I don't know. I can't see you. You left here one way. You ate of the fruit, and now you came back. I can't see you. I can't find you. Adam, where are you? Now, rather than make sure that you teaching the word, you out here talking about it was the woman that you gave me. If it hadn't been for the woman, if it hadn't been for the serpent, if it hadn't been for this, if it hadn't been for that, you should have honored the word. No matter who comes up to you, who you going to honor, Eve? You're going to honor the serpent, or you're going to honor the one that made you? You're going to honor the one that made you, you're going to honor the serpent that was made. You're going to honor the one that made you, you're going to honor the serpent that was manipulated. Who do you want to honor? Who are you going to honor today? Who are you going to honor? What are you going to honor? What are you going to wake up for and have that and put in that work? Put in that as what's his face? Shady McCoy would say, put in that crazy work. Don't just put in that work, put in that crazy work. He said in football, he said, man, when it came to the foot speed and the moves and the juke, he said, I used to give him that crazy work. I don't just give him that work, I give him that crazy work. Right? I'm out here about to give you that crazy work. You thought, see, my work is, not trying to, I'm just telling you what is, right? Not trying to tell you I'm better or worse, anything like that. I'm all that, whatever. I'm just trying to tell you the truth, right? I give crazy work. You hear what I'm saying? I give crazy work. Yeah, we got to know the word. Hey, how you doing, Makia? Right? I give crazy work. I know that the words that I speak, the average person can't even receive. Why? Because I'm in the kingdom. In the kingdom, we give crazy work. Why do you give hours upon hours upon hours? Because I don't just give work. I give crazy work. You know how much I've dedicated my life to this? I've made a decision that way more of my life will be known for me doing this than not. Crazy work. I'm all in. Right? What do you do that you want to give so much effort, so much practice that is crazy work? Don't just even come up here with work. A lot of people, look, at least some of y'all getting into your work. Now it's time to make it's going to be crazy work. It's crazy work now. The world is giving crazy work out here. You out here trying to give regular work. They're giving crazy work out here. Every day somebody getting shot up at a school. Crazy work. So you got to take your children and raise them up right in here and make sure that they got something to protect themselves. Oh, yes. That's crazy work. You're not ready for the work that's out there yet. You're not ready. They're giving crazy work out there. They ain't just giving work. They're giving crazy work. You hear what I'm saying? They ripping husbands away from their families, giving them life sentences, even if they don't deserve it. That's crazy work. You see what I'm saying? Like they out there manipulating you. They've been having y'all pay taxes, and taxes has forever and a day been something that you can choose to pay or not. Nobody's ever taught you that. That's crazy work. They had you sign contracts without telling you what the contract is that you signed, making you a fake citizen of a fake corporate or a fake country that's actually by law a corporation. That's crazy work. And see, what's happening is when you do crazy work, people will only think on the first word, crazy. They'll think that you crazy. Just like we talked about the donkey, right? Balaam Doctrine. We talked about this yesterday. You be the donkey you're supposed to, even if people try to make you out to be an ass. Right? That ain't cursing me. The ass is not a curse word. Ass is talking about a donkey. Well, if you're going to call me that, no problem. I'll be that. But I'm a donkey. I'm going to speak righteousness and still do what I'm supposed to do. And I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to die and go down a path I'm not supposed to go down. Right? People are going to try to make you feel guilty about crazy work. They're going to try to call you crazy. Give them the work anyways. Right? Give them the work anyway. Let them call you crazy. Give them the work. They already calling you crazy anyway. They already treating you like you're crazy. They're already putting you in a crazy position out there where they say, we want you to know who you are, but don't say if you're male or female. Crazy work. They giving it to you and you taking it. Thank you for the love. They giving you crazy work. And you taking it. Thank you, Holy Spirit, because I didn't even. It's so incredible how she takes different things and puts this stuff together, right? It's crazy work out here. The Holy Spirit is trying to give you something that's going to seem crazy to them. Let it be crazy to them. They already treating you like you crazy, anyways. It's crazy to tell a baby. It's crazy to tell a baby, tell me your sexuality. It's crazy. It's crazy to tell me that a human being is not a human being is a human being, right? When they're an adult, a human being is a human being when they're a teenager. A human being is a human being when they're a child. A human being is a human being when they're 9 months. A human being is a human being when they're 6 months. But when they're a certain amount of age inside the womb, all of a sudden it's not a human being anymore. That's crazy work. Got you arguing over crazy stuff. If they're going to put crazy work on you, you need to be ready to give them crazy work right back. They scoring touchdowns out here on us, giving us this crazy work. It's time for you to put in some crazy work. Put in something on such a level that it's out of control. Because they can't control you anyways. They'll call you out of control. You OC. Yeah, I'm out of control because you don't have control. Matter of fact, I'm not out of control. I just don't have control over myself. I don't know what I'm going to speak next. I don't know what this. I know I study and do all this stuff, but I don't know what the Holy Spirit's going to say because she in control. I just know that I've decided, I've made it a point, right, to make of myself no reputation so she can have her way. And when she has her way, then people see, oh, I like that fruit, right? I like that fruit. I can use that so I can get some crazy work. Have you watched this in your life, in this season of life? Some of the stuff you're going through, this is the year where we're going to press and strain, right? In your life, I want you to know something. Some of the stuff that you're pressing and straining from right now is not because you're a bad person. It's not because your spouse ain't doing this. It's not because your job situation. You don't know why. You need to have some crazy work put on you right now because they had you out here looking crazy. They had you out here looking cray-cray. They had you out here looking ridiculous. They had you out here thinking that, putting dope and putting crack into people was going to be something that provided for your family, not realizing how you were breaking up families and stuff. They taught us this stuff. They thought that we were fooled. They had us in here. They had us saying, hey, for the first time in the 80s, we can finally provide for our families and we can be the ballers. We can be the gangsters and stuff like that. The government went ahead, but you ain't pay attention to what they did to all those other government families or all those other families that work for the government. And they put them behind bars and stuff too. And they did the same thing with Freeway Ricky Ross. And they did the same thing with the cats in DC, the cats in Philly, the cats in Brooklyn, the cats in the Bronx, the cats in Miami, the cats in Chicago, the cats in St. Louis, the cats in H-Town, the cats over in Oregon. I'm sorry, I'm having a moment. Portland, the cats in Los Angeles, the cats in Las Vegas, the cats in Compton, whatever. They tricked you. They did some crazy work on you. They left some crazy curses on you. It's time to be curse breakers. It's going to take crazy work. He breaking up some things in you. It don't feel right. It feels like it's crazy. It feels like the situation. It feels like your family ain't acting right. It feels like your children ain't acting right. It feels, he breaking some stuff up. Get your mind back. You ain't in your right mind. He chastises those who he loves. This is going to sound wild, but it is an honor and a privilege to get a whooping from the Most High because he loves me enough to whoop me with that excellent whooping, then have me get that whooping that's going to lead me to destruction forever. Dwayne Wade's son, crazy work, yeah. Give you that crazy work. I'm trying to tell you, like it's a privilege. Y'all don't want to hear that because that don't sound cool, but it's a privilege to get a spanking from y'all. Because he cares. Y'all don't want to hear that. Brothers, it's a privilege to have your wife tell you off every once in a while, even if she's wrong. You know why? Because she cares. When you be out and y'all see other people doing craziness, your wife ain't talking to other people doing craziness in the store and mistreating their children and doing this or whatever. She talk to you. You know why? Because she care about you. Sisters, y'all don't want to hear this. But your husband say something and he say something about this or whatever. It's a privilege. As long as it's right for both sides, as long as they're being led by the Holy Spirit, as long as it's what the Most High says, as long as it's scripture, as long as it's coming from a loving heart and a loving place, it's a privilege for your husband to say, we shouldn't do that. Who you think you is and blah, blah, Your husband don't say, your husband let all them, he let your friends go ahead and do whatever. He tells you, your friends, when they do that with that husband or with that man, this will happen. And you see exactly what your husband say happen. But he don't even say nothing to your friend because that ain't his business. But he loves you. So he says, baby, we probably shouldn't do that. Baby, you should probably trust me in this. Respect me enough to at least hear me. And he said, he don't even come off disrespectful. You said when you says you're gonna eat your vegetables, hey, right? It's a privilege. Not everybody's willing to do that for you. I say this all the time. People don't like it when I say this. This is not for everybody. This word is not for everybody. This culture is not for everybody. These ways are not for everybody. This love is not for everybody. This mindset is not for everybody. This heart. This is not a racist statement that I'm saying. I'm saying that whether you graft in, whether you're Israel by blood, whether you're Israel by being grafted in, whether you're black, white, in between, whatever the case might be, whether you're male, female, whether you whatever your situation is, this is for those who have decided to follow it. And anybody, remember we talked about be the donkey, be excited about when the donkey is willing to speak to you and give you a miraculous word. Right? When the donkey, Balaam Doctrine, this is the series. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you might have to look at the series. But be excited when the donkey gives you a miraculous word. You're so upset, trying to call them an ass, trying to call them stubborn, trying to say that they're beasts, trying to say that they don't listen, trying to say this is why I don't tell you nothing anyways. Be excited. Because they just saved you from destruction. And we're so busy because I don't like what you said, or I don't like how you said it, or if I be honest with some relationships, and I'm not just talking about marriages, your children relationship, your work relationships, some of y'all just don't like the fact that you didn't say it or they said it in a manner that you can't hang with yet. Don't throw nothing at me. If the shoe fits, wear it. If it don't, take it off. That's why I said some of y'all, search your heart. That's between you and the Holy Spirit. Y'all work that out. But some of y'all just don't like the fact that somebody says something and you ain't ready for it. And now you can't win, or at least win the way you want. So guess what now? Ad hominem. Now it's your mama. Now it's your daddy. Now she's gonna be just like your daddy. That ain't for everybody. That's who it's for. Right? We don't like discipline. We don't honor this. Ooh, come on. Have you ever heard of an honorable disciple? You ever heard that term? Wow. We don't honor discipline. Have you ever heard of that? Be an honorable disciple. We say the honorable master so-and-so, the honorable this, the honorable that, the honorable judge so-and-so. Have you ever been okay with being an honorable disciple? Yeah, I see you, Sister Patricia. Yeah, some people can't handle the truth. See, are you willing to honor the discipline? Somebody might love you enough to discipline you and give you something that's going to that's going to blow your mind. Will you honor it? Will you honor it? Will you honor the discipline? That would make sense. You would like that, Brother TJ, for many different reasons. Right? Do you honor the discipline? Will you honor discipline when it comes? How you doing, Sister Stacy? Will you? I mean, do you truly honor it? Do you look forward to being disciplined? The average person says, "I don't like that term." I look forward to being disciplined. How many push-ups can I do today? How high can my kick go today? How fast is my jab? Am I showing too much of my body? Right? Because the way, especially if you're doing kung fu, or at least the kung fu I do, you're supposed to turn your body so there's less of you to hit. So that looks crazy to somebody else, but I promise you, I put in crazy work because I'm disciplined. I'm not as flexible as some of the great masters out there. I can't do what they do with their flexibility, but I'm disciplined in certain ways to where it don't matter as much, because they might be more flexible, but they're not more disciplined in some of their technique. Right? Like there's a discipline. Are you honoring your discipline? Every kick should look the same. My son can kick better than I can, but he don't kick the same every time. Did you hear what I'm saying? My son, because he's been doing this since he was 2, he's more flexible than I am. But he don't kick the same way every time. So I have to stop him and be like, hey, that's not acceptable. They may not be as tall. Yeah, right. But I'm just saying also in discipline. Right? In discipline. Be disciplined. When Mike Tyson got knocked out by the first one that he lost to was at 90, Buster Douglas. He didn't lose just because Buster Douglas had this drive and he wasn't going to lose, and he promised his mom before she passed. All that matters, by the way, right? But Mike Tyson was not disciplined. Custom Autumn was gone. Mike Tyson, he would put in some of that crazy work from time to time, but he wasn't doing that the same manner that he was doing when he was hungry, when he was first getting it. You can see his life started falling apart. By the way, the people who trained him never made sure they trained his life. That's one of the biggest problems that Mike Tyson has had, is that he was somebody who was in the street. He was a hood dude, hood N-word, whatever. He ended up basically having somebody take him in who, took care of him, pretty much like a father. He saw, somebody that was going to help him to make money down the road and help his name to be great, but he never had somebody train him in manhood. Now, whether you believe, I don't even know 100%. Look, that's between Mike Tyson, the girl that, said he raped her and whatever, right? I'm not trying to, at the end of the day, he got convicted. It is what it is. If you believe he didn't do, whatever, that's not even where I'm going, right? I'm not even going to touch on that. What I want to just say, though, is that all that stuff, all the things that you see happen, tattoo on the face, right? Different things that happen, getting houses, like people just go, well, Mike Tyson, he made all his money, but then he got broken. It was because of all the vultures. It was because of Don King. Mike Tyson, you got a house that was like a palatial estate. Nobody ever trained you in your manhood. You had the strength. Yeah, like Samson in a sense, right? You had the strength. But nobody trained you on how to use that strength. You had the strength, but nobody trained you on how to use that strength. Right? And a lot of us, we're in the same boat. You have a form of Elohim, but deny the power thereof. Nobody's telling you to be disciplined with it. Samson, you know that if you ever cut your hair, the Most High said your power is gone, right? You already know this. If you ever cut your hair, your power is done. This woman that you're laying with, she keeps asking you over and over and over again before she puts you to sleep. She keeps asking you what gives you your power every day that you wake up. And I'm glad you even brought up Samson. Every day that people don't catch this, Samson, it wasn't just a thing of, hey, he loved her a lot. He loved Delilah a lot. And so one day he told Delilah his secret, and then that was it. And then that was it. He got his hair cut. He basically was playing the game. This wasn't just that he loved her or something. He was playing the game over and over and over again. And eventually he was playing games with somebody, but he had an entanglement with the wrong person. He was cheating on his gift. She kept saying, oh, give up your gift. What's your gift? This thing that makes room for you, this thing that makes you something that nobody can hurt, nobody can harm you. Well, if you tie me up, oh, okay. If you do this to me, oh, okay. And she kept having the Philistines come in and try to kill him. This was not just a random or one-time thing. And even before that, Samson was married to somebody that he wasn't supposed to marry. He already knew the dangers of being with somebody you're not supposed to be with. Samson had lost his mind. He hadn't lost his gift, but he lost his mind. And when you lose your mind, it's only a matter of time before you lose your gift. He lost his way. When you lose your way, it's only a matter of time before you lose your gift. He lost his culture. It's only a matter of time once you lost your culture before you lose your gifts. Come on. Salah. Right? It's only a matter of time. You lost who you were. It's not just as simple as he, right here, obviously, keep it simple to a certain extent. He cut his head, he cut his power. But for him, it was not even just that. You lost your way. She kept asking you over and over and over again, honor me more than you honor the gift. Honor me more than you honor the gift. She kept saying over and over again, honor me more than you honor the gift. Yeah, that is Ahmad. That's true, right? Honor me. How you doing, the crystal? Honor me more than you honor the gift. Brothers, if you get with a sister and she keeps saying, honor me more than you honor the gift, she need not be the wife. Sorry for giving away secrets, ladies, but that's the truth. Get me this. Be more than you make sure you sow into the kingdom. We don't need to be together. Because at some point, it's going to get you killed. Yeah, removed him from the protection of the covering of the law. Then he's blind. Now you can do whatever you want. Then you put him in front of everybody. Basically buck naked. And then you get the gift back one more time. It's great and everything. You went out with a bang, but you still went out. So you got your revenge, but you still ain't here. When you could have taken care of those same people and had your life, had you not been involved with the wrong one. How many people get involved with the wrong one? When you should onely, remember that word only is onely. You should only listen to the one. There you go. Settled for a piece of himself, for a fraction of who he was. Samson, you could have kept on living and slaughtered thousands, millions. You had a strength that nobody shall ever be able to think of. Samson was strong. It said when the Spirit came upon him. It said when the Spirit came upon him. It doesn't say that Samson had a six-pack. How you doing, babe? My wife is on the Honorable Maya. As always, please check her out on TikTok, YouTube, or website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. Right? It never says Samson had a six-pack. Never said that. It never said Samson had a six-pack. You know what it said? It said that Samson, hear what I'm saying? It never said that Samson had a six-pack. It said that Samson would get the strength when the Spirit came upon him. I'm not saying we should be out of shape, right? But what I'm saying is your strength is not to be honored because of your workout regimen. Your strength comes from above. Hey, how you doing? I think Sister Brianna was saying grand rising to you, babe, on from YouTube, just to let you know, right? Samson, you don't need to honor Delilah. You need to honor the Most High. Right? Samson, I'm looking at you, Samson. You don't need to honor Delilah. You need to honor the Most High. She said, "Shalom, Sister Brianna." Right? You need to honor the Most High. You got so much strength. And thank you, Sister Patricia. We appreciate you. Right? You have so much strength in you. You need to honor the gift. We're so busy looking for the purpose. You don't do. You're this. You're this. Let me start looking at your gift. What's the gift? You fighting about the wrong thing. Don't wrestle against flesh and blood. When you don't recognize, and if you had done, and if this hadn't happened, and blah, blah, and the way that I feel it is, and I don't care what you say, and this is how this happened, and blah. What's the gift? Yes, when you honor the Most High, everything falls into place. What's the gift? Come on now, what's the gift? This is why your stuff is getting off track. This is why your business associates and stuff are get off track. This is why you don't have the boundaries that you need in your life. But what's the gift? Right? Feelings are always real, right? I don't say facts over feelings because feelings are factual, right? But once we get through them feelings, once we discover what those feelings are based upon, now let's have some conversation on what's really going on. And are those feelings based upon fact? Your feelings are factual. I will not deny your feelings. Now that we've gone ahead and said your feelings are factual, what are those feelings based upon? Are they real? May I tell you something? This is for brothers and sisters, right? This is for people who got business and not. This is for the young, for the old. A lot of our stories that we tell ourselves are stories that are authored and penned by us, and they are oftentimes incomplete because they are authored and penned by us. May I just say it like that? May I say it again? A lot of our stories that are authored and penned by us are incomplete because they are, in fact, authored and penned by us. You cannot see everything. Sorry to say it to you that way. Sorry if that's an inconvenience to you. Sorry if you don't like it. But you can't see everything. This is why you need Jehovah. And this is why he has given you somebody, because it is not great for you to be all in one or for you to be alone. It is not great for you to be alone. So you can't see everything anyways. So I know you're quick to say, this is what it is. I see this. This is what the Holy Spirit gave me. This is what I as a man see. This is what I as a woman see. This is what I see through the Spirit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I know all those that look. And I'm not saying that you don't see anything, right? But you can't see everything. Hallelujah, right? You can't see it all. That's why it's not great for you. Stop talking about what you see by yourself. May I say something that's gonna mess with some of you in your mind? Might mess with your theology some. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just here to do what I'm supposed to. I told you I gotta empty it all out. You gotta empty the clip, right? Okay. Right? Gotta make sure the magazine is all empty. Okay. You ready? I just gotta say it. Look, to always tell the story from your perspective and none other involved is sinful. What does sin mean again? Sin means anything causing you to miss the mark. I didn't say you did it on purpose. I didn't say you're a bad person. I didn't say you're going to hell. Hear what I'm saying. If you're somebody who only or wantonly tells stories, right, who will always tell a story and it is always just from your point of view and no other point of view can be recognized, that is a sinful state. You are missing the mark. This is why men miss the mark with Adam and Eve and women miss the mark with Adam and Eve. Why? Because men go, Eve ate the fruit. You can't trust no woman. She's not strong enough. Women go, well, Adam ate the fruit too. And he should have made sure he taught her this and taught her that. The reality is both of them ate the fruit. And when both of them ate it, we were all messed up because the two were one, right? But if you can only tell it from one perspective, right? If you can only study the Bible from your perspective, you know what begins to happen? You begin to have a situation where you preach yourself in the Bible. You put yourself in there in a manner in which you should not be, and you begin to ascertain things that only come from you and don't come from the Most High. The interpretation of the word is not your interpretation. You need to get rid of that. You're being dishonorable. The gift that was given to you, right? The gift of discernment, the gift of interpretation, right? The gift of preaching, the gift of teaching, all these different gifts that are out there. These things were not given to you so that you would teach yourself. The only reason that you have been authorized to go to the next level is because you're not included. Oh, that's going to hurt some feelings. But it needs to be said. The only reason why you have been called to go to the next level is because you have no reputation. He can deal with somebody who doesn't have a reputation because the king is the only one whose reputation is valuable in the kingdom. Okay, watch this. King Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa did great things and did this or whatever. Let's say somebody came against Mansa Musa and tried to kill him. So-and-so who's the 105th ranking official in all of Mali. That person who's 105th ranking official in all of Mali. He decides to start telling everybody how Mansa Musa is trash. Question for you, is that going to affect anything? It's a weird question, but stay with me. Is it going to affect anything? The 105th ranked person got a problem with the king. He starts talking trash about the king. The 105th ranked person tries to say, I'm gonna gather all the people of mine together. Is he even gonna be able to gather anybody? Right? I know this is gonna hurt because the 105th ranked person should be treated as a human being. But hear what I'm saying. We ain't running off the 105th ranked person. We running off of the king. And even if or of the Mansa, and even if Mansa Musa gets put to the side and somebody else comes in, it's not gonna be the 105th ranked person. And we so busy trying to assassinate people's character, and you acting like you gonna be the person that everybody steps up to. We are all part of the body, right? You're not the king. Yahweh is the king. You are not the king. I'm sorry. Make of yourself no reputation and be okay with it quickly. When Yehoshua returns, he's not coming looking for somebody who's got the biggest reputation. The first will be last, the last will be first. He's not tripping off that. Right? If you are the second in command, we pay attention to you, but you still ain't the king. And the only reason we pay attention to you is if the king says pay attention to the second in command. That is the way that works. Yeah, the toe is the toe. It's not the brain, right? The toe is right. Your eye can't do the same thing that your foot can do. If you had a body full of eyes, you might be able to see a lot of different places, but you couldn't walk. It'd be too painful. And as soon as you fell over because you couldn't walk, you bust all your eyes. You would die. If you had a body full of thumbs, we would think you were a monster. We would run. Right? You can't have a body full of thumbs because then you couldn't breathe. You need lungs. You can have a body full of lungs because your lungs won't be able to inflate and deflate if you don't have a diaphragm. You can't have just a lung and diaphragm through your whole body because then you wouldn't be able to do anything because if you don't have a brain to regulate that. But even if you had a brain, it wouldn't matter much if you didn't make sure that you had a medulla oblongata. If you didn't have a medulla oblongata, it really wouldn't matter that much because if you didn't have a pineal gland, nothing would develop in the first place. It goes back to what we were talking about with the fruit. I don't expect oranges to taste like apples, and I don't expect to put orange seed in the ground and get apple trees. I don't expect to put apple seed in the ground and get pecans or pecans. I don't expect to put pecans in the ground and get string beans. This is not how this works. I don't expect to put string bean seed in the ground and all of a sudden I've got a grape orchard. Humble yourself. Make of yourself no reputation. A lot of this stuff would be so much easier if you didn't have the reputation. This is why you be beefing. For real, for real. This is why we be beefing. If we just be honest, this is why we be beefing for real, for real. If you really want to go there, you want to know why you really be beefing with folks? You got too much reputation. Now they just ain't gonna say that about me. Do you know who I am? You can't say this about me. You ain't got no say over me. Even my mama don't talk like to me. My daddy don't talk to me like that. Man, what you think you talking about, girl? You better go somewhere with that. You better go somewhere with that. Keep talking like that. Keep talking like that. Keep talking. See what's gonna happen to you, right? Like, because you got too much reputation. The Most High, Yahashua HaMashiach, comes down in the form of Elohim, finds it not robbery, makes of himself no reputation. Why? Because the only way that he's going to be able to die for those who are less than him is if he becomes less than them. The only way he's going to be able to lift those up that are less than them is if he can empathize with being less than them. So he becomes less because the first will be last, but also the last will be first. See, you're missing it. You're honoring the wrong thing. I know in the street, look, bro, look, sis, I know in the street, it's kill or be killed out here. I know in the street, they can't even approach getting close to your shoes, let alone step on your shoes. Right? I know in the street that, hey, I got something for you. If you want to, you want to say whatever, I got something for you. I know that's how they do it out there. You ain't in the street though. Kings and queens don't operate like that. I'm not saying you can't have no weapon to protect your family, but hear what I'm saying. Kings and queens operate different. Yahashua, right? On the night of I almost went back to the church. On the night of Passover, right? The night coming up to Passover, they come to a place. Who washes the disciples' feet? Let's make this plain. Let's make this culture. Who washed the disciples' feet? The servant was supposed to. At least that's what you would think. You pay somebody to wash feet. I'm the Messiah. I don't wash feet. Yahashua washed the feet. Why did he wash the feet? He humbled himself. He told them at the table. They were so busy talking about this and that or whatever, and who's going to have the honor and which one of them once one of them is the greatest and all this stuff. He said, man, look. He said, we're sitting here at the table. We're about to get ready to do this. He said, who? He said, I sit in the seat of honor, right? You guys are giving me the position of honor. Yeah. I washed your feet and I served you. You come to the wrong place if you're trying to get a reputation out of this. I've said this before. I'll say it again. How you doing, Jacob's house? I've said this before. I'll say it again. I would love in my flesh, I would love to be able to just give y'all some simple stuff and just stir certain things up and stir up emotions. Man, I can get so many views. I can sell so many books. I can go to so many different places. I've seen people that I've helped traveling, getting BET or up for BET award, doing this, doing that, man. I'm so thankful and grateful for them, man. And I appreciate them stuff, man. And sometimes I be seeing, I'm like, man, I could be doing that. I'll be sitting there looking like I could be, if I would just tweak my stuff a little bit, I could, if I just stop saying Yahweh and I say, and I stop saying Elohim and I just say God, and if I would stop saying Yahshua and I would just say Jesus, and if I would just, and I would give him just enough of the word, but at the same time, I would make sure, right? But I'd have to get a reputation though. See, watch this. When I make no reputation in the world, I get all the reputation in heaven. And where else is heaven? Heaven is in me. So this is when it gets crucial. I ask my question. I ask myself questions like this. I say, I could do that today. I could say this today, but I say to myself, if something were to happen to me, how would my wife feel if the last thing that I did was that? So I'll make no reputation of myself out there, but in my heart and in my wife's heart, I got a reputation. I'm okay with that. I'll say things to myself like, I could do that or say that today. However, what would my son? Will my son respect me 20 years down the road because his father never, never got outside of what he was supposed to be? On his lives, he never cussed anybody out, right? He always taught the truth. When my son gets older, he wants to go back through his father's library of videos and the books and all this different stuff and the people that he's helped and all this stuff. And when my son goes back through that, will he say, man, you know what? My father was honorable at all times. I prefer that. I could change stuff up. I could just go ahead and be out here. I could be like, hey, there's people that follow the cussing pastor. Right? The archives, yeah, right. There's people that follow cussing pastors out here. I could come out here and just give them a little bit of that. I could just be, standing on principle, right? Principalities, principles, origins. I could give people what they want. I could be Sir K. I could be the circus. I could give you the mammy. I could do it. I know how to do it. I could just preach what other people preach. I could come out, and I'm not mad at anybody's teaching style. I'm just saying there's a lot of preachers that just come out, and every week you see them doing the same examples over and over and over again. This preacher poured water in. Okay, this week I'm gonna pour water in. Okay, this preacher took a dollar bill and they folded it up and they crunched it and they crunched it again. They stepped on it, crunched it again, stepped on it, crunched it again, stepped on it. I'm gonna do the same thing. This preacher came out here and was talking about that y'all need to stop worrying about women's bodies, and even though we know that's not biblical, to tell people it's okay to get an abortion. Hey, this preacher got voted into office. This preacher is now getting, all types of people following him in Georgia. This preacher is getting all types of recognition for not saying anything about it in Texas. This preacher is getting blah, blah, blah. I can do the same thing. Or I could be honorable. And there was a preacher who came down from the ceiling like an angel on a yeah, I forgot. I forgot all about that one. Yeah, that was. Didn't he even get stuck? Did he get stuck? I feel like there was one of them that got stuck. But anyways, right? Like there's got to you gotta have a higher standard. You gotta honor the standard. You know why you gotta honor it? Watch this. Because nobody else is honoring it. Watch this. If you want your child to see the unseen, first show them honor. Because no child is out here seeing honor nowadays, relatively speaking. It's very difficult. Some of you think watch this. There are some of you that think it's hard to be able to not cuss somebody out because you grew up with parents who were very great at not cussing around others, but then at home, when they got upset at you, they cussed you out. No honor. Some of you grew up with parents that didn't check on their parents, threw them in a nursing home, all this stuff, whatever. So now it's difficult for you to follow a law that says honor your mother and father, for it's the first commandment that comes with a long life. Which, by the way, can we just put a pin in that real quick? How dare you keep teaching people? Preachers, be careful out here, because y'all preaching stuff that don't even make sense. How dare you tell people that it's Old Testament stuff don't matter at all, and law doesn't matter at all, but you quote Paul in Ephesians chapter 6. Maybe that's why they don't quote Ephesians chapter 6, verses 1 through the first few verses. They go straight to verse 10, because Paul is talking about law. Anyways, back on track, right? Be careful when people be preaching this mess. He said, yeah, seeing honor is no longer the norm. Yeah. The dishonorable is there. There was a sister, I was talking about this a little bit yesterday, I believe. There was a sister who would speak. I don't know if I was talking about this on the live or I was talking about this on Patreon, if I was talking about this for the brothers or whatever. But there was a sister, and the sister put out a video, long, lengthy video. I want to say over 3 minutes long. And she was so busy talking about black men, shouldn't be respected by women. You got to respect yourself and respect yourself only. Black men, they don't even get married at all. Black men, but really, she kind of twisted it. She sort of told the truth, but the reality is the statistic she was using was for rich black men, celebrities, sports stars, stuff like that. But she was like, black men who graduate college, they don't even want black women. At least certain that you made sure she said certain studies show. So that's code for, hey, if somebody catches me in this, I'm not saying everybody does this or all black men, but she was trying to make a video over and over again, right? It was on some Gloria Steinem type stuff, some CIA narrative type stuff, right? And I get why she feels like that, because she's right. She's right on certain things as far as, but this is why contextual facts matter. She was like, well, you know what? See how they make you look in movies, and see how they make you look in videos, and see how they do this and see how they do that. And while it's true that black men will go into those situations and they won't say a thing about it, and some of them, that's what they've always wanted because that's what they saw Snoop do, right? That's what they saw Ice Cube do. That's what they saw Busta do, right? So they trying to do the same thing they were raised on. We're not going to talk about that. But also another thing we don't talk about is that, why aren't you going to mention Jimmy? Is it Jimmy Irvin or Jimmy Iovine, whatever his name is, right? And why are we going to talk about who's the guy? His name sounds like he lying. The guy who was on the Breakfast Club, right? These are people that are not even your people, who are in control of the people that you see. I'm here to tell you, as much as you swear that Snoop Dogg is in control of his stuff, he still ain't in control. Right? As much as you think Dr. Dre is in control, he still can't make moves without a ball. Liar Cohen. Thank you. His name, I knew his name sounded like it's actually Leor, right? Leor Cohen, but Liar Cohen is, how I remember it, Leor Cohen, right? But these people, and thank you, babe. These people are the ones that are in control, but you're so busy talking about the ones who are being manipulated or the ones that are owned, right? None of these people are in control. I don't care what they tell you. None of these people are in control. And they pick and choose. Do you think the sisters are in control of what they put out there? That's why all of them. I don't care if you're talking about Beyonce. That's why every last one of these sisters out there, they look like strippers. I don't care which one you bring whichever one you want to bring to the table. The ones that don't look like that, they don't last too long. They might have a place in your heart. They might come up with some great albums, but they ain't around anymore, are they? Not in the manner that you used to. Right? Lil' Kim, what she look like? Foxy Brown, what she look like? They tried to change MC Lyte. She wasn't going for it though. TLC, what they look like? Where SWV been at? Because they don't look the same. I'm trying to show you where Lauryn Hill been at. Beyonce, what she look like? Stop acting like Beyonce was fighting temptations her whole career. What Beyonce look like? Talking about how real she is. I woke up like this. Okay, how much skin lightening she done did, and how many times? Right, I woke up like this. What color is your skin now, baby girl? And how much of your body is still the same? They don't keep around you. They don't keep you around just because you got a voice anymore. There's a few of them out there, but even Jill Scott, she got to do some scandalous stuff every once in a while. She ain't in control. Jill Scott lyrics, and I'm not saying Jill Scott's still amazing art, but Jill Scott lyrics back in the day versus what's going on now, they ain't the same. What's her name? Nicki Minaj. What she look like? How much of her body still the same? Cardi B. What she look like? How much of her body still the same? Matter of fact, Cardi B is interesting case study, right? Because Cardi B even has so much makeup on. I'm not saying make a bad thing. I'm saying she has so much of it caked on. Like, it's difficult for me to watch Cardi B in any situation, movies, whatever. It's difficult for me to watch Cardi B. You know why? Because she got so much stuff caked on. I actually see the cracks whenever she speaks or when she moves her eyes or anything. You can see the cracks in the makeup. Meg Thee Stallion. What she do? What she look like? Ariana Grande, I don't even really know what she looked like. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I'll just have to trust you on that, right? Even the ones that are trying to copy off of her, Taylor Swift, what she look like? And I don't really know what Taylor Swift looked like. I remember what she used to look like. I remember she ain't had no body, but she was trying to show nothing. Miley Cyrus, Disney star, what she look like? They got some girl out now. I don't remember what her name is, but her whole thing now is just trying to look nasty. What's her face? Who has a lot of talent, but is willing to but she's trying to make sure that she's always twerking or always wearing some kind of, AS, less chaps and all this different stuff or whatever. What's her name? Heavyset girl. It has a lot of knowledge when you listen to her speak on things as far as history. Very knowledgeable, but she's not in control. What's her name? Plays the flute excellently. Lizzo, yeah, classical flute player, excellent flautist, Like, and I think plays a little bit of piano. Has an excellent singing voice. Doja Cat, I know a little bit about Doja Cat. I don't really know what she looks like. I know a little bit about. I know the name. I know about the little racist barb or whatever she gave. What was it, last year, a couple of years ago, whatever, when everybody was so disappointed. When I found out a little bit about her story, I was like, I wasn't that disappointed at all. I was surprised that it took that long. But yeah, they're supposed to look a certain way. The dishonorable, see, watch being dishonored gets you money. Yeah, sure. How you doing, Celestia? What's the question you'd like to ask? Right? Like, at the end, how you doing, Miss Modesty? If I didn't say so already earlier too. I'm just saying you got to ask yourself a question. Right? Like, we're talking about black men and black women, right? What they look like. Let's talk about what these people look like on the other end. What they look like, what they talk like. They all sound the same, right? Like, Busta Rhymes, what is lyrics talking about? Right, cutie make me want to do her in her booty, yo. Like, this is the lyricist. This is one of the greatest of all time. Some people would say, right? What the ones that stand on principle, they ain't gonna be around that long. Right? I mean, these people are designed to look a certain way, and they're supposed to look like that for other generations to follow. You don't find it odd that hip hop used to be something that was about fun, about showing some lyricism, about having a great time? And yes, every once in a while there were some people that need to give us some real truth. And yes, every once in a while there were some people that need to make sure that we had some stuff. But guess what? Like, I don't even think people even look at it. The first hip hop artists, not the hip hop artists that we knew of, first hip hop artists that they started putting out and glorifying are the ones that really ain't have nothing at all. Some of y'all gonna be mad at me when I say this, but Run DMC, they mean a lot to people because of wearing Adidas and this and that or whatever. They were never great lyricists. I know that's gonna hurt some people's feelings. They were only put out there by other people. That's why you know Run DMC. I'm not saying that the DJ ain't had no stuff. I'm just telling you, they were never looked at in like, look, in Brooklyn, I never really cared. I never cared about Run DMC when I was growing up in Brooklyn at the time. I didn't know nothing about Run DMC. I'm not saying, well, I won't say I didn't know nothing, but I ain't listened to him like that. That wasn't our standard. I know these are different times that I'm about to go into, but you think anybody was ever looking who was in the KRS-One was ever looking at anybody like Run DMC like, oh yeah, I'm trying to cop that. I'm just saying. They had style. Like we like the style, which was Jamaican anyway, like you said. You know, it was Caribbean style. That's all they did was they took Caribbean style, but we liked the style. Right? I had a little fake me out chain rope because I couldn't afford. My parents couldn't afford no rope. I had a little, you know. Well, I was about to say Kango. Well, I guess they Kango had some of them too, right? But I had a little. You know, I never could afford the actual tracksuit, but we like that stuff. Right? I'm not saying they ain't had no style and no flip. I'm just saying we never looked at them. People talk about the Beastie Boys. I fell for that stuff, and I tried for hard for so many years to be like, yeah, you know, the Beastie Boys, this and that. The only reason people care about the Beastie Boys is because it was pushing that on you. Beastie Boys can't rap like that, even for that, even for back then, right? Like the Beastie Boys, they never come out with the, you got to fight for your right to party. They wouldn't play it at the club. You know what I'm saying? Like we got this weird part. And there were people that we knew weren't great MCs, but we knew what they were for. Like, you know, when somebody hits you with to the hip, the hop, the hippie to the hip hop, and you don't stop, or rock it to the bang bang boogie. Say up jumps the boogie to the rhythm, and the boogies would beat, right? Right? Like that's that wasn't supposed to be like extreme lyricism, but we appreciated it. It was fun, it was flowing. There's levels to it. We understood what time it was. Right? Like there used to be a lot of stuff, but it went from at least there being different things you could listen to and everything. Now everything is straight up the same thing. Everything is money, sex, drugs, power. And really, power and money can be put in the same place, right? It's really just about power, sex, drugs, or really, let me just put all four: money, power, sex, drugs. That's every song. Every song now: money, power, sex, drugs. You're gonna have to look pretty hard, especially for something that's gonna get on the top 10 list, even the top 100 list, right? Especially in hip hop or in rap, because not all rap is hip hop, if you know the difference, right? But money, power, sex, drugs. You said wicked thoughts. You said what's my thoughts on marijuana? Marijuana is a herb. Matter of fact, marijuana is probably better if you were to eat it than to smoke it. But marijuana is a herb. Know what it's for, use it correctly, and don't overuse it. That's pretty simple. That's, the herbs are for the healing of the nation. You can read Revelation 22:2, and you can read, what is it? Psalm 104, verse, Psalm 104, verse 14, or verse 4. I might have the wrong verse on that. You said it goes with how these celebrities bring them up and how people only see it now just because they only like the high feeling. Esther spoke on it with the three that were trying to prove the king, which was more powerful. Yeah, you're right on that. Yeah, Arrested Development. Arrested Development is awesome, right? Arrested Development, awesome, right? Tennessee, stuff like that. But how long did it last? In Living Color, everybody talk about the show In Living Color. What about the band? Now you might not be into rock music, so if you're not into rock music, they heavy metal. But they're four brothers, right? Four black men, I think. Yeah, four of them. Uh, you know, mostly known for Cult of Personality. Go listen to Cult of Personality. Look at the lyrics. I would play it on here at the end, but I think some of y'all might not be able to handle it. Y'all would think that I'm being satanic, but y'all need to listen to Cult of Personality. And even if you can't listen to it, at least look up the lyrics. That song right there. That was like the first time I knew it was. I was like, black people could play rock and roll because I liked it, but I was like, I thought it was like Jimi Hendrix. I kind of sort of knew the Slash was black, and outside of that, I was like, I guess we ain't really supposed to do it like that. As far as when I was growing up and I was getting into music, and the next thing I knew, I was like, oh, right, Living Color. I'm like, dang. right? I won't play a bunch of it for you because I'll get it straight. But if I were to play the beginning of it, y'all might not even know that's a group of brothers. I'm gonna just play the beginning. I can't play too much of it because we get in trouble, right? I'm gonna just play the beginning riff, and it might come off loud, so please forgive me. I hope it's not gonna be too loud, right? Hopefully, it won't be too loud for you, right? But a lot of people don't even know this is you. I can't really play this on YouTube at all, so you're just gonna have to hang in there for a second. But this this is your people playing this. A lot of people don't even know this. This is your people playing it. So if you ever heard that, you probably if you didn't know, that's you. One of the greatest guitar riffs of all time. Right, and this is just for educational purpose only. So Genesis 1:30, into every beast and to every fowl in the air and everything that creepeth. Oh, there you go, another scripture, right? Yeah, let's give it life and the herb, even for meat. Yeah, thank you, Sister Crystal. Genesis chapter 1, verse 30. Right. So so there's a lot of stuff, and I'm telling you, the lyrics of that thing powerful, right? Matter of fact, don't really get me started. I'll have y'all mad at me at the end of this because I'm not gonna play it. I promise you, but I'll have y'all mad at me, right? One day, at one of these things that we do when we talk about these watch parties, we might do a listening party, right? Because there's some of these songs, there's some of these lyrics out here now. Some of them got cursing in it, so I have to be careful, right? And I don't want to be a bad example to the babies and stuff. But I'm telling you, like, mess around with Rage Against the Machine. That's you too. You know what I'm saying? At least the guitarist, right? But that's you too. You know what I'm saying? Like, and look at some of the lyrics with that, right? I'm gonna read some of the lyrics. I'm gonna just read some lyrics real quick. This one's from Bulls on Parade. If y'all know how that one goes, y'all heard that one before too. And some of their stuff, especially even the hip hop, some of their stuff just be hitting anyways. It's heavy metal, so to speak, but it be hitting anyways. But I'm gonna just do Bulls on Parade. There's so many of them, man. So many things y'all should look for out of Rage Against the Machine. Their catalog, they didn't even last that long because they broke them up real quick. Money situation broke up real quick. But they wanted the people out there, man. I'm telling you, like you wanted to. I wish I was as aware as what I am today, and went back in time because I liked a couple of their songs back then. I really didn't play them like that, so I only knew a couple. I'd hear their stuff and I'd be like, oh, for real? Like, dang, they kind of do. And they'd be making scratch sounds with the guitar. They had a DJ. They had the bass player, was pretty decent. I wouldn't say he was funky or anything like that, but he was pretty decent. But like, man, I wish I was more, had my head in the game back then. And because I would have really gotten some stuff out of those things, right? But so like the lyric, like, and I'm telling you, like, he a MC. He not just a rapper. Like, he a MC, but he also he's kind of like, for those of you who are into, not Corn, if you know who Corn is, but Fred Durst. Like, if Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit, if Fred Durst was an actual MC, like, this is what he would have been like. like if you listen to, like, Fred Durst was never really an MC. He had respect for MCs, but he never was an MC. He never really was a singer like that. But if you had somebody who was a straight MC over some heavy metal stuff, that's what Fred Durst was trying to be. He was trying to be, Cat from, I don't even know Cat's name from Rage Against the Machine. But anyway, Bulls on Parade, right? So, like, the microphone explodes, shattering the molds. Uh, Either drop the hits like De La O, or get the F off the commode. With the sure shot, sure to make the bodies drop. Dropping and don't copy you. Don't call this a co-op. Terror reigns drenching, quenching the thirst of power dawns. that five-fisted fist of God, right? Power dons, five-fisted, come on, man. Five-sided fist of gods, like the Pentagon coming off of Don. Like the lyrics are too much, man. The lyrics are too much. I'll get excited over here, right? That five-sided fist of God, the rotten sore on the face of the Mother Earth gets bigger. The trigger's cold, empty your purse, right? They rally around your family with a pocket full of shells. That's the chorus. They rally around your family with a pocket full of shells. Verse 2, weapons, not food, not homes, not shoes, not need, just feed the war cannibal animal, or the cannibal animal eye. All right, line up to the mine cemetery now. Line up to the mine cemetery. What we don't know keeps the contracts alive and moving. Think about that, right? Let me just go back a couple. Think about this. Let me just go back a couple sentences, right? Weapons, not food. Weapons, not food. This is game right here, man. This is game. They was giving us. I wish I was more in tune with this stuff back then. Man, they was really trying to show us something, right? Before they broke them up. Weapons, not food. I'm gonna say it this way: weapons, not food. Weapons, not homes. Weapons, not shoes. Weapons, not need. Just feed the war cannibal animal. War is cannibalism. All we need is weapon, right? War feeds off of you. So don't worry about giving people food. Don't give them homes. Don't give them shoes. Don't give them what they need, because war is going to eat them up anyway. Right? This man said, I walked the corner to the rubble that used to be a library. Lined up to the mine cemetery now. You hear what I'm saying? How you doing, Orphanite? Have a great one, right? Like he said, I walked to the corner. It used to be a library there. War done torn down the library. Who cares about the library now? Now it's just what? Now I just go to the mine cemetery. They would try to tell us game. What we don't know keeps the contracts alive and moving. They don't got to burn the books. They just remove them. Let me say it again. What we don't know keeps the contracts alive and moving. They don't got to burn the books. They just remove them. Sound like what you're going through today. You're also busy talking about he said, if you would learn something, right? The things that you're ignorant about, you not knowing your culture, you not knowing yourself, you not knowing what's actually happened. He said, that's what keeps the stuff moving. He said, they ain't got to worry about, and matter of fact, for real, they ain't got to burn the books, right? They just remove them. And look, you ain't looking to read. What he's basically saying is you're not looking to read anyways. So since you're not looking to read, you won't read a book, let alone a contract. So your ignorance is keeping them contracts flowing because you don't even try to read about the contract. Therefore, since you won't read about the contracts, you're not even looking for books to read. So you don't even know what's been removed. May I say that again? You don't even know what's been removed. You don't even know what's been removed. And they had this on MTV. I swear I wish I was more. The people on MTV didn't even know what they were talking about. That's how crazy this was. Like, you ain't supposed to put this on MTV. You're supposed to be talking about B words, right? You're supposed to be talking about Stacy's mom has got it going on. You're supposed to be saying closing times. Every new beginning comes from some other beginnings. And that's what you're not supposed to be on sitting up there talking about they running down your family. Or they rally around your family with a pocket full of shells. Like, this is so wild. People. That's why I say all the time, you got to be the master. You'd be surprised how much stuff is going on. And even the people who are trying to manipulate you don't even know enough truth to really manipulate you. If you know what you're supposed to be on. This was not supposed to be on television. That's why I say I wish I was more aware of what was going on. Right? He said, what we don't know keeps the contracts alive and moving. They don't got to burn the books. They just remove them. While arms warehouses fill as quick as the cells, rally around the family, pocket full of shells. And then it calls them bulls on parade. Right? Like, I'm just saying that that for that time frame, that was not supposed to be on our television screen. Somebody dropped the ball. Somebody got fired. That they let that happen for 2 songs and tried to put up the second album stuff too for a little bit. They had to get rid of them. They had to split that group up. That could not stay. That could not stay on point. And part of it was because the people were starting to feel themselves, especially if you believe what's said. The lead singer was feeling himself a little too much or whatever. I can't speak to all that. Nobody really has ever gotten a clear story from them. You said you were listening to in Waters while doing mission work back then. Oh, thanks, babe. I see it's 11:11. Right. So I'm just saying, like, we've been honoring some stuff, and there's been some people trying to tell you stop honoring it. If you honor the Most High, and I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to take my lead. If you honor the Most High, guess what? You will be dishonorable to the world. Did you catch that? If you honor the Most High, you'll be dishonorable to the world. This is why some people don't even, they're like, why would you be speaking on such things? They're so proper with their pinky up, and I'm drinking my pinky up anyways, for real. But, with their pinky up, how dare you speak of the kingdom and at the same time mention bulls on parade? This is such nonsense. How could you speak of such things, perverted as hip hop and things like that? We should never speak of such things. We should never do this or that or whatever. Mm-mm. We need to, because ain't nobody telling you to, like, you keep going to your churches and they ain't telling you the truth. You keep going to your schools and they removing your books. Somebody got to tell you, this is why your children don't want to listen to the Bible, because you don't tell them the truth. The Bible told you a long time ago that they will not stand for clean or lawful or legal or hygienic or hygienicos or what you call sound doctrine. Told you long time ago, be prepared that people will not listen to sound doctrine. They will continue to change what's going on. They will continue to change their minds. They will continue to try and change things because they will not capitulate to truth. Right? They've changed this up so much that the true version of this makes people upset. When somebody's changed the truth so much that the truth upsets you, we got a problem. People hate the truth so much that the truth upsets them. We got a problem. When the truth makes you, see, watch this. I don't think anybody even gets this. Don't be so upset that people are voting against the truth being taught. You need to study on why the truth makes them upset. Don't be upset that people are voting against truth. You need to study what about that truth makes them upset. Then you're going somewhere. As we get ready to take our lead, right? I promise we're gonna get ready to take our lead. Don't be so frustrated that the truth is being cut out. You need to recognize what makes somebody so angry about the truth. Now we can have a conversation about culture correctly. Now we can have a conversation about the diaspora correctly. Now we can have a conversation about how the government works correctly. Now we can have a conversation about why your children keep leaving these assemblies over and over again, why your children, or why the child, while the offspring, etc., why they don't want to deal with these things the way that they've been dealing with, why they don't want to be in the same position they've always been, why they don't want to become what it is that you're telling them they should become. You can have a conversation about it because there is no truth in it. And they realize that the same people that you're telling them, listen to these people. Look, this is why our diaspora, right, especially the diaspora that's in the United States Corporation, our diaspora, right, our women in our diaspora are becoming witches more than anybody else at a faster rate. You want to know why? They're becoming that because they don't feel secure. You want to know why? Because there's nowhere in this, at least as far as what they've been told and what they've been sold, there's nowhere in this that tells them about themselves. You have a responsibility to make sure that happens. I'm not mad at the daughter who says, I don't want to follow the Bible. Why don't you want to follow the Bible, daughter? I'm not in there. Oh, well, I understand. I can comprehend why you would say that. I empathize. Let's go through this and show you all through this. Let's show you that there used to be husbands in here that made sure you felt secure. Let's show you that if we teach these men or these little boys in men's clothing how to be husbands from when they're born, that you won't have to worry about this ever again, and neither will your daughter. Right? Like let's teach you that not all skin folk is kinfolk, but at the same time, there are some skin folk that can be trusted. Let's teach our diaspora about honor. Let's stop telling you that we're only listening to your music. Brothers, hear me. This is one of the most confusing things for our sisters out there. Let's stop telling these sisters that the only way we'll listen to your music is if you're buck naked, but the only way that we'll listen to anything you have to say is if you're totally obedient in the kitchen, clothed up, except for when we want to have sex with you. This is why they leave. And a lot of them ain't trying to come back. And guess what, brothers? According to the word, you would be blood guilty because you told them that. Right? You got to set up where she going to be on stage. We honor this. Right? This is why I got to at some point start talking about little Kim. Because look, as little boys, a lot of us were crushing before she even started getting any kind of plastic surgery, anything like that. We crushed on little Kim. I gotta go back and ask myself. I gotta go back and ask little Kofi, why were you crushing on the baddest bee? Like you gotta have a conversation with your eternal self, brother. You gotta go back and talk to, because that's a curse that you allowed to keep on going generationally. We gotta go back and talk to ourselves. Man, little Kofi, look, I need to have a conversation with you. You know that little Kim was never an example of a wife, right? Like you gotta stop the nostalgia, take off the nostalgia goggles long enough that you can see her for what she is. She isn't. If you as an adult saw little Kim now, what would you say about her? You don't know any better, little Kofi? Okay, let me go ahead. Let me hold you by the hand real quick. Let's study the word together. Let's pray about this. Let's deal with this lust issue. This is gonna open doors for you. That's gonna make you a lot different and stuff, right? Like, would you want your wife to go in front of the world in an award show and make sure that Diana Ross is flipping her breast up and down because she's wearing pasty? She's wearing a pasty in front of the world to see. Y'all forgot about that? I think that was that MTV, was that BET Awards? One of them. Might have been the Grammys for all I know. Right? With Lil Kofi, I just want to show you where this is going. This is not cool. And we need to make sure we get this in control and use, because if not, this is going to be something that's going to visit your child. Now, look, if you're one of the sisters, well, that's empowerment and that's this and that's that. Okay, if that's how you roll, that's how you roll. I'm just saying that, if you want a husband, husbands try to make sure they protect their wives, including their wives' value system and how people look at their wives. That's just what we do in our culture. If you don't do that, that's fine. But for those of you who look for that and subscribe to that type of thought process, or at least consider yourself to be of the same culture, maybe the same tribe or of the same culture that I am, that's how we operate. And before somebody hits me, well, in Africa, but there are many different tribes, countries, countrymen in Africa, so don't hit me with that. But if you do want to hit me with that, even when you talk about African tribes where sisters will show their breast or during certain ceremonies, because a lot of them don't walk around like that all day, but some of them do. But even if some of them don't walk around like that all day, but they show it during a virgin ceremony to where brothers aren't touching it. And brothers are looking at it. It's not even for the brothers as much as it is for the women. The women will do the stuff to prove to each other. They're doing like those kicks and things that you see and certain things that they're doing. They're supposed to actually be showing themselves, right? Have you ever seen those ceremonies where they kick straight up and sometimes they kick so high that they fall backwards when they're behind? They're supposed to be showing themselves, and other women are looking to see if they're keeping their virginity. And not even what you think it is. See, but once again, you're not in a culture where you can handle that, because if you were to have a sister walking like that in the street and doing a ceremony like that, there's a lot of brothers out there who would be ogling them, making sure that they pull their phones out. They'd be trying to do stuff to themselves afterwards with those pictures and videos that they've taken. It's a different context altogether. But you haven't been raised in a society where you can handle that. You can barely handle a sister when she's sitting up there and she's just wearing some of y'all can't handle a sister even that's in yoga pants. You can't be respectful to a sister that's at the gym. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's a different. There's a different cultural conversation that's going on, right? So until you learn how to honor a sister and protect her and things like that, and just making sure that you keep her chaste. In my community, every sister's chastity should be protected. Look, I have a wife anyways, right? So it doesn't bother me as much anyways. But what I'm saying is every brother should make sure that every wife, every woman, every daughter, every girl, every mother, every queen should be able to be chaste. She shouldn't have to worry about every guy in society is supposed to make sure that every woman is protected. That's how we roll. Yeah, they're not over sexualized. Breasts aren't over sexualized, right? But I'm just saying, like it's like when you go to Japan, and when you look at Japan and you see all these little children walking around, you would be freaked out. Like, where are these children's parents? But these children, and they'll even put different color hats on them for different age groups, right? And when you see them in different age groups walking around, you see them and doing those things. Why? You make sure that you see them, and if you see a child that seems to be lost, everybody in society is supposed to make sure that child gets to where they're going, because every child belongs to Japan. Right? That's the way it's supposed to work. That's culture. I've told y'all before. Go back to Africa for the first time, at least first time in a really long time, and first time for weeks. My wife and I over there, we don't bring our child because we've been told all this stuff about this and that and blah, blah, and all these things that we never even saw. But people try to scare us about our own people. Some people that even from where we went try to scare us about our own people. But nevertheless, go over there. There's baby girl. There's babies all over the place, but there's baby girl specifically where we are. We kind of sort of out in the bush, not really. It's a place called Millennium City, but it's a lot of country, right? And there's a baby girl, and she's just out there, and she's like, she keeps going around this vegetation. We can't see her and stuff. And the mother is like actually sometimes going inside preparing food, or they come outside, they prepare the food and stuff like that. They do that. They were doing that for us to bless us. They fed us like every day. We were there from scratch pretty much, unless we wanted to do something on our own. And we're freaking out because little baby girl it can't be no more than one, maybe two, but I feel like she was one, but maybe she was two. And she just keeps disappearing. She just keeps leaving. She just keeps going behind. And we're like, what? Why she keep? And we're like, hey. And we keep yelling to the family, hey, so to the mother, why don't you look? And to the women, hey, somebody get. And they just keep looking at us like, what's wrong with y'all? And they're like, she's fine. She's fine. Because where we're from, you can't let baby boy 2 feet from you. Right? Because in this society that we're in, baby boy get in trouble just because of what he looked like. But over there, they're like, what's your problem? Like, let her go. That's what children are supposed to do. She's supposed to explore. She's supposed to be 2. She's supposed to have time to herself. We busy over here doing something else anyways. Let her go ahead and do what she's supposed to. But we've been manipulated by somebody else so much, that we become paranoid. Right? Now, I'm not saying we should just come back to America and be like, let your children roam and do all that, because it's not our culture. Over here, they'll take your babies. Yeah, we don't have exactly what they have over there. Right? Like over there, people walk through the streets with machetes and nobody's afraid. And by the way, after the first one I saw, I wasn't afraid myself. Walk around in crowds. I would still make sure that I watch my stuff because it's in me to make sure, I come from big cities. So, ain't nobody going to pickpocket me. Ain't nobody going to take my wife's stuff, whatever. So my head was on a swivel at all times. But over there, why would you, and the places we were at, why would you steal? Like, even if you in abject poverty, which I didn't really necessarily see like that, but even if you in abject poverty, why would you steal from somebody? Doesn't make sense. It's a whole different culture. Over here, you can make millions and still steal. Ask what's going on with is it the Pentagon or with what part of the United States? It's not the defense, but whatever, right? And they get all those trillions of dollars or whatever, and they can't explain what happened to 60% of it. Over here, you got all they in their culture, you can have all the money and you still steal it. But over there, you walk through the streets with a machete, ain't nobody worried about nothing. Why would we hurt you? Why would we just kill you? Why would we hurt you like that? It doesn't make sense. Why would we lie to you like that? It doesn't make sense. If somebody lies, 5, 6 brothers might roll up on you and beat you down because you told a lie. I seen that. Like they're not going to jump you for money. They're going to jump you because you lie. It's a different culture over there. We couldn't handle being back home. A lot of us. You said it was in Charleston, South Carolina, Black Food Truck Festival. The first time my son said, "Mom, I feel safe. We are from Kansas." Hey, right? You know what was interesting with police back home? Was interesting when you go there. I didn't even really see police like that. I think I saw more security because of the place we were staying in. And that's really more so for white people when they come over there so they can feel secure because ain't nothing pop off. And I think I saw maybe 2, 3 white people the whole time we were there, maybe 3. But anyways, the police, interesting thing about them, I only really dealt with them one time. It's because we were going through a checkpoint. When we were getting ready to go to Elmina Castle, we were taking a really long trip, 2, 3 hour trip, whatever. And when we got to the checkpoint, they stopped us, and I got nervous because when I'm over here, you get stopped by police, you don't know what's going to happen. But they basically just looked at my ID or whatever, and they said, okay. And they talked to us, and they were like, okay, cool. Oh, you guys are from here, blah, blah. All right, awesome. Have a great time. And that was it. That was it. And after that, I never even looked for one, never thought about it, never cared about it. It's a different experience, right? It's a different culture. So I learned when it comes to honor, I learned to honor my culture better because I realized like stuff flows better over there. I don't care what anybody says, right? I don't care what anybody tells you. Stuff flows better over there. I'm not saying that you necessarily, we got to live over there, blah, blah. I'm just telling you it flows better over there. I'm not saying it's perfect. It flows better over there. There's more respect for sisters. You ain't got to worry about making sure that you've got ain't nobody worried about who got the most gaudiest of clothes on. Ain't nobody trying to outdo anybody as far as the makeup. Ain't nobody trying to worry about, which brother has the most jewelry on. There's little hints of that you see in certain places in some of the cities. But for real, for you, it's not that important. Not as important as it is over here. Now, I've said this before, it's interesting what Americans are doing in our diaspora over here is starting to influence over there negatively, right? So they're doing their church services like they see over here. They're doing their songs now like we do over here, right? Things that used to just be, dances or whatever. Now they're trying to, do a little bit more suggestive stuff in their moves than it used to just be, stuff like that. They're starting to let some of that mindset over here influence over there. And this is why we got to be careful. People don't recognize it's one diaspora. We look to each other, whether we like it or not. People be saying bad stuff about your brethren over in Africa, and some of your Africans be saying bad things about your brethren over here. And some of the people from the Caribbean are saying bad stuff about, the diaspora here. And we doing the same thing to them over there. And we saying bad things about South Americans, and they saying bad stuff about us. And we saying bad things about natives, and they saying bad things about it. We're influencing each other, whether we like it or not. We're one. And it's time to stop honoring foolishness and honor what the Most High has for us. That being said, though, thank y'all. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for being on with us. We'll see you again this evening. For those of you who have Herbalism too, the Honorable Maya will be on at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time. And we hope to have you guys join us then. Thank you again for listening in. We appreciate you. Tomorrow, we'll see you guys for the Zoom meeting after it'll be a SOC community Zoom meeting. You should get a Google Calendar invite if you've already gotten the Zoom link before that says SOC community meeting. or yeah, something along those lines. I believe it should say SOC community meeting. So if you've already got the link on that, before you can use the same one, it'll be at 11 a.m. Eastern New York time, right after the podcast, which will be at 10 a.m. Eastern New York time, right after the live session, which will be on the same channel on TikTok at 8 a.m. Eastern New York time, same place on YouTube, same place on Facebook. So we appreciate you all. Thank you so much for being on. Tomorrow we'll go over a little bit of Hebrew characters as an introduction for some, as a community, and kind of do some stuff. We want you to kind of write some with us. We're going to take our time and slowly write some stuff out, so you guys can kind of get some of the things and the basics. And also, don't forget, that'll be a nice lead in going into what our children are going to be learning through the Honorable Maya and what she has set up for us, on whether we're going to do Shabbat school or Sunday school. We're not 100% sure which one it's going to be yet, but it'll be coming up on the first weekend of May. So thank you all for being on. We appreciate you. I'll see you guys on TikTok later on Kofi_42 at 8 p.m. Eastern New York time. We'll see you on YouTube, same time. Thank you so much for being on. We appreciate you. We honor you. We're going to get ready to do our shout out on TikTok. So those who are on TikTok, if you've never done a shout out with us, just stick around for a little bit so you can see how it works. Other than that, once again, thank you so much for being on. Please check out my wife, the Honorable Maya, on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist. Biologist by degree. Tincture of the month is still stinging nettle. And please check out all of these great things that we show behind the scenes. We even show some of the stuff, the shirts that you saw behind me earlier. Those are some of the shirts that are from Minister Tamara. So if you like those, if you like some of the ones you see from Brother Jermaine, or some of the ones that will be coming up soon from Minister Shantae, or some of the other products that you'll see pop up, or if you're interested in classes, if you're interested in coaching, if you're interested in getting some more, doing some more things, whether it be meetups or other things, or just being part of a community and doing more than just showing up for the live sessions, we can't wait to be in front of you all again. We appreciate you. We thank you all. And we look forward to talking to you very soon. As always, this has been Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. And until I have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again, please remember, as always, just that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in the system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, family. Shabbat shalom. Since it is actually Friday and it's Shabbat. For those